What's up, my man? How are you?
Pretty good. How's it going?
It's great to see you. Thank you for.
It's been a while.
Where'd you drive from? Victorville?
Victorville, yes, sir.
That's quite a little trek, isn't it?
Just a little bit. A little bit.
How's everything?
Good. So far, so good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I had such a good time at the Bart Hall show. What about you?
Oh, same. It was cool. I saw a lot. Funny thing is, I ran into a lot of people that have been on my trips before. A couple of people that have registered for the new trips. So it was like finally get to see them in person before the show. But it was cool.
Yeah, and
It was cool.
I thought it was well attended, and it got
I
really
know,
busy.
Our little row was pretty stacked. It was
Yeah.
kind of congested for a while, and I think the rows were a little bit wider, but
They were.
but it was still congested in there.
I know.
I was going to sit back here and hang out for a little bit because I wasn't able to get out of my booth.
I got a dear friend, Bob Gifford. I went to grammar school with him.
Oh,
He's a fireman, and he was over talking to you. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember him.
Okay.
But yeah, he called me. He goes, "Hey, when is Brian on?" Because he was going to tune in and watch
Oh,
tonight.
sweet.
So it's great.
I'm here.
Dan Smith says hello, and
what's going on?
Dan, what's happening? Good to see you. And you know somebody named Army Dog Creations?
That's my brother Harry Franco, man.
Harry Franco, thank you for joining
guy.
us.
He's an Army guy, but he's still my brother.
You're a Marine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and we talk about it, but there is a bond with you guys, isn't there?
Oh yeah. As
I mean,
far as
I
Marine
see-
Corps, just in general.
Well, I guess in general, but you can address Marine Corps, right? I mean, I see guys
yeah.
all the time. They see a guy wearing a Marine Corps hat, and they're over there.
Yes.
Hey, Semper Fi,
Hoorah.
right?
Right
yeah.
off the bat. Right
Yeah.
off the bat. It's one of those things that's instilled in boot camp. It's a brother sisterhood. One of the things that just can never be taken. Once you earn that title, it's yours forever.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I think that a lot of people feel like when you go into the military, you're trained to be an assassin, a killer, right?
Yeah.
And to some degree, you are. You got
Yeah.
to protect
yeah.
this nation.
That's the plan.
But you're exposing this other side about love. Really, I mean, there's a love for your brother and sister, right?
It is. 13 weeks in boot camp is a long time, and they break you down from a civilian to a Marine, and it's difficult because you want to go back to your normal Joe Schmo ways, and it's just not that way anymore. Even now, there's things that I do that's just it's in me. I can't let it go, but it'll always be there.
We've got to talk about mission fish, but
Yes,
I am
sir.
finding this
Let's
very
do it.
interesting. If you don't mind, I just want to pursue this a little bit
course,
more.
let's
How do
go.
they break you down? What do they do?
Well,
How
I mean,
bad is it?
Oh,
Is it like what you see in the movies? Because
I
look,
would say it's.
I'm too much of a coward to have ever joined the Marine Corps or anything
I would
like
say
that.
it's just like that.
It is.
Oh yeah, I mean they pick you up at night and they take you under the bridge and you get off this bus, and as soon as you're not even off that bus and they're digging deep, man. These drill instructors are digging deep, and you've been like I was in a terrified. I've never been. I've been scared, but this time I was like terrified. These guys are really gonna.
They
hurt me.
scare the hell out of you,
Oh,
huh?
man, yeah.
So you buy that they're gonna
Oh
screw
yeah. Oh yeah, they're gonna get me good. But I knew that. I went in knowing that. I got a strict mom, so it was really like eh.
And do you attribute your mother's upbringing of you being strict to helping you to get through that and helping you to get through life in general?
I think my mother's strength for me is what kept me going because she was a single mom. So when I saw her do what she had for me, I knew, okay, if my mom can scare the hell out of me, there's no way I'm gonna let these guys do it.
Right,
But
right.
there was days when where you want to quit, where you want to say, okay, I'm done. But that's when you dig deep and you remember the ones that have gone before you, and you say, okay, I can't let my mom down. I can't let my brothers and sisters down. I can't let my kids down, my wife down. So I'm gonna continue pressing on.
Good for you. Jeff Yeomans, 540 Slinger, he says, good evening, fellas. Hey, Jeff, thank you for your service.
Jeff?
Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
Before I go any further, what's wrong with me?
No.
I try to say that all the time
Right.
because I'm so convinced that going out there on a half-day boat is only because you guys protect this great nation of ours.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
for sure. Jessica Garcia Barber, do you know her?
Sounds familiar.
She says hello, and Jessica, welcome to the show. It's
That's the
great to
wife.
see you.
She was working the booth this whole time.
Oh, cool. Isaac says hello, fellow devil dog.
Hoorah.
There you go,
Hoorah,
man.
Isaac.
I love it. Diego Pro, how's everybody doing? Dan Smith, God bless and thank all of you for your service. And man, I couldn't agree more. It's just so incredible the sacrifices that people make, including losing their lives. You said before we went on the air, you mentioned Joe Patino.
Right up. I mean, a dear brother.
And I go, how do you know Joe Patino? Joe Patino made that,
Right.
and he just lost his younger
Right.
brother. So
I've been there.
I'm so sorry to hear
Yeah,
that,
sorry
Joe.
about that, Joe. Thinking about you, man. But it was. I've been there. I lost my brother, as you can see. I got his name right there.
Uh-huh.
Difficult, very difficult, because it's just like, once again, it's like being in the Marine Corps. It's somebody you grew up with, and you know everything about that person. And you think, oh, we're gonna talk tomorrow, or we're gonna talk next week, or we're gonna do this, and that never comes. And that's when you realize, like, they're really gone. But that's when you also dig deep. You talk to your fellow brothers and sisters that are around you. You reach out, whether it's a text, PMs, social media, anyhow, and you just let them know that you're there for them. And that's what I did this afternoon. I talked to Joe. I PM'd him.
You
let him know.
did?
Oh yeah, I PM'd him. Said, hey man.
Did he know you were going to be on?
I don't know. I don't know if he
Darn.
knows.
Well, hopefully he's
Hopefully
watching. Joe, if you're watching, it's a little bit later over on the East Coast,
Right.
but hopefully he is.
I hope so.
And he's coming back.
Yeah, he'll be back. I think he said June, so he said we'll definitely do some fishing then. So
Oh,
that's great.
I'm looking forward to it. In fact, Joe and I did some surf fishing on the base over here.
Really?
And it's freaking good, man.
Oh, we gotta try
I'm going to take you over there.
Let's do it.
Catch some halibut and big
What?
croaker. Yes.
Oh, what's
Right in
on?
the surf, man. Joe Patino, right
go.
there. But once again, Joe, I know Brian feels the same way. You're in our thoughts and prayers, and
Oh yeah.
we'll be thinking about you tonight. Where were you stationed when you did?
When
you were in?
Yeah, when I first got in, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton with 1st Battalion, 11th Marines in Las Pulgas. Did my first deployment there, and then after that,
You deployed to where?
we deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Then.
Uh-huh.
After that, I was stationed in Miramar with 373. Did my second deployment there, once again, to Iraq and Afghanistan. Once that was done, I transitioned to 4th Lat in Pasadena, where I was part of an I&I instructor course, which is I&I is inspector instructor. We were training the reservists, so if and when that day comes, which it did in 2003, we got them ready for that.
Care to tell us anything about what it's like to be in Iraq or Afghanistan? I mean, so that we can feel a little bit about what you guys see and have to do.
The first deployment was, I just graduated boot camp in June of '95.
So you're how old?
20.
Wow.
20.
I mean, you're a kid, right?
I turned 21 in comm school. From there, I went on my first deployment in June of '96. Had no idea what the hell to expect. I just thought it was something we did. I thought I was going to war at the time, because not knowing. But,
were you scared or were you excited?
It's kind of both.
Yeah.
Kind of both. Like I try to explain to my mom, it's you train and you sign up and you enlist to do that. You don't enlist to stay here. You enlist to go fight for your country.
Yeah.
So going on deployment kind of gave me a little bit of that that push. Kind of nervous, scared, but yet excited, because now I get to go see some other countries that normally I'd have to pay to go see.
Yeah, right.
But being over there, we were, I think, 13 miles from the border, and just sitting there watching, kind of realistic, knowing that the enemy was like right there.
And after you.
Yeah, and the thing is, we couldn't do much. We had to sit there and wait, and we waited. Luckily, they didn't jump when we were there, but I was just like, wow. Like, flying into the area, you see the old hunkers, like they've been blown up and stuff. I mean, they were just like wow, this is really happening.
Yeah, it's real all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, that reality hits.
Do you ever get scared or?
Scared, not really, because I put.
Because you're trained.
We were trained for one, but I put a lot of trust in my brothers and sisters that were there. You know what I mean? I know that they're gonna, whatever's gonna go down, they're gonna go down with me. So I really didn't have that fear of that. My fear was probably coming home. Like, oh, I can't wait. Hopefully I can come home. I have to go home, because, I had a kid at the time and married young, and thought I have to go home. You know what I mean? I have to make sure I get home.
Yeah, yeah. And
that was the scary part.
Yeah, for sure. Did you lose any close friends or anybody?
Over there, no. The first time, no. The second time, no. We didn't really lose much. The second time was with, I was attached to an air wing unit at the time, part of the FARP team, but really didn't do much. I guess it was more, they did a lot more of the ground pounding. The ground pounders did a lot of stuff, but not the air wing. We didn't do much. But we were there when Operation Anaconda started. I was supposed to re-enlist in one of those cool helicopters, but they cut that short because of the war start, the pre-war, I guess you want to call it, doing some site surveys and things. But I was like, man, I really want to re-enlist in that helicopter.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right? Yeah, because you never get
Pretty.
you never get to do that again. So I was like, we're here, let's do it. So he's like, let's do it. And that morning, got up and got all dressed and had my camis all pressed, and I was ready to do it. And he goes, I'm sorry, Barber, we're not able to do it. We got
Oh
this going on."
man.
And I was like, man. But other than that, that was my
And,
time.
and you are like a smart guy. Obviously, I can see that in
Yes,
30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Well spoken, eloquent,
Thank you.
well adjusted. But some guys go through some awful things
Right.
and they come out with all kinds of mental problems
Right.
and everything else, which
Right.
I completely understand,
Right.
right?
Right. That mental baggage is heavy. I felt that's why I created my nonprofit, man. Was to
Let's
try
talk
to,
about it. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I created the nonprofit to give them a way out. I did 10 years, like 9 years, 11 and a half months in the Marine Corps. Got out. Real quick, in boot camp, it's 13 weeks to break you down from a civilian to a Marine. When I got out,
So they break you down and then build you up.
correct.
Yeah.
But when I got out, they took me from being a Marine to being a civilian in 7 days. I didn't know how to adjust to that. I'm pretty sure at the time my brothers and sisters didn't know how to. You can't just adjust from a Marine to a civilian.
Yeah, I know,
And so
right?
You're gonna go figure it out. We're gonna teach you. We're gonna go do some resume writing and some job hunting. But they didn't teach me how to deal with the average civilian. I didn't know how to do that.
In retrospect, should they do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Go ahead.
because on base you're dealing with a bunch of others like us.
Yeah.
Like-minded individuals.
Right.
They're hard chargers. They're ready to get things going. And you deal with some civilians that don't know that aspect. They're like, and you're like, am I wrong for thinking this way? Am I talking too loud? Am I talking too soft? Am I using my knife hand too much? You know what I mean? So it's but it's just the aspects of having to deal with civilians. I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I didn't know how, and I know at the time, like I said, a lot of my brothers and sisters didn't. So when you get out, let's say me and you've been in the last duty station together. We've been together for almost 3.5 years. Why get out? I'm from California. You're from New York. Now you're off to New York, and I go back to stay here in California. But we don't have that bond anymore. We would talk over the phone because back then social media wasn't a thing. It was more like, hey, Phil, how you doing, man? You good? Okay, I'm good. And that was pretty much the extent of it because we were so far. And you're 4 hours ahead of me, so we really didn't have that time. That's when I think when I missed, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my veteran brothers and sisters feel the same way. So I created the nonprofit. The reason I created that was for one, to deal with my PTSD, my anxiety, my depression, and two, to give my brothers and sisters an out to do the same thing. I mean, you know what it's like, man. When you're on that water, something about it, I don't know what it is, why it does it, how it does it, but my buddy Jason took me on a twilight. My brother Jason Chesbro. Jason, what's up, man? Took me on a twilight fishing trip with Jordan Richard. He was a captain of the Channel I at the time. Let's do a twilight trip, right? And I haven't gone fishing in years. I pulled out this old pen that I had, and he laughed at me. But I went out, and I remember being at the back of the boat, and then I walked in the front of the boat, and we were just cruising out, and I just remember being like, wow. I had people talking, but for some reason I zoned it out. There wasn't a lot of people on the boat, but it was just being in that moment of on the boat, watching the sun go down, looking at the water,
God
the
almighty,
island.
yes.
Right, I was just like this is I could have just sat there and did that all day.
You're right.
But then he goes, oh, don't forget we're fishing. I was like, oh, okay, my bad, totally forgot.
Yeah, really. You
Right?
were just like,
I was in that moment.
yeah,
I was in that
Nirvana
moment.
almost, right? Yeah.
And I thought, wait a minute. This is something I would love to share with my veteran brothers and sisters on doing this. But I didn't know how to do it. I had no idea. A couple weeks later, I go on a crab netting trip on the Cobra out of Channel Islands.
Yeah.
And my buddy Kevin Brandon was on the boat.
Oh, Kevin's great.
He had just got off the Gentleman filming or whatever he's doing. He hopped on the Cobra because it was a nighttime trip, hopped on there, and he's filming, and I'm looking at it, and his energy is so positive. And
Yeah, he's great.
Recording, and he's talking, and he's moving, and I was like, man, what does this guy do? So on the boat, I'm talking like, hey, man, what do you do? And he goes, well, I started a nonprofit called Real Guppies, and I take kids fishing. I was like, how do you...
Did the light bulb?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, wait. I said, I want to do this for veterans. He goes, well, let's do it. What do you need help? I go, I don't even know where to begin because this is something I've never done and never thought I would do. I mean, I would love to do it, but never thought it was something that would flourish into what it's doing now.
Yeah.
So I talked to him and talked to a buddy of mine named Santiago Jimenez. He goes, hey, let's go went to talk at his furniture shop. And I told them at the time, hey, this is what I want to do. And they said, well, we'll back you up. Just go ahead and do it. So reached out on Facebook at the time and said, is there any nonprofits that deal with taking veterans fishing? And I think my buddy's name was, what was his name that mentioned that? There was two guys that mentioned that, and one of them was a guy that lives in the Central Coast, and he goes, yeah, Anglers Anonymous does it. And I was like, okay. So I reached out to them, said, hey, I want to do what you guys do, but I don't do it down here in Ventura. What can I do? And they're like, well, we have our nonprofit. Here's our number. If you want to use it to let the boats know, maybe give you some love, but you're going to have to fundraise yourself and make the money. So that's what I did. I fundraised, and I think I made, like I said, $3,500, and I was excited.
Yeah.
It took me a lot long time to do that.
Yeah.
But man, I was so excited doing it.
Sure.
But our first trip, we did Operation Anacapa 2015, and that was 17 people on the Erna B at the time.
That is
So
awesome.
I was like, I did it.
Yeah.
But I thought after that, I gotta do more. I gotta do more. To me, 17 was great and doing it one time, and I got to do more. So the next year we did 2 trips, but my drive I'm not going to help one. I want to help them all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got that Marine Corps thing going on
Yeah,
there, which is a good thing.
I'm
I'm not in the Marines, but I got it too. I don't.
Right.
I just keep going
Just keep going,
24/7
right?
until I pass out.
Right.
and then-
If I did 60, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Let's do 120 next year. Okay. So then we did 3 trips.
Let me catch up with a couple questions
do
and
your
we'll
thing,
keep
do your
going
thing.
because you got a lot of people who are sending you their love here and everything
Awesome.
else. Isaac says, I've been out for 20 years and I'm still trying to get used to civilians.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
very it is.
It lasts that long, huh?
Like I told you, being in the military it's embedded in you because you're broke down.
Yeah.
I mean, you're broke down from this guy that walks around with his hands in his pocket, can smoke a cigarette and walk, to where you're not allowed to walk with your hands in your pocket in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to smoke in uniform. I mean, it's like, so you're kind of like, but I used to. You can't do that now. But I used to. You can't do that now. So then when you get out, you're like, nope. I put my hands in my pocket. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, that's funny. Just force a habit.
Force a habit.
And is the Marine Corps the same now? Because you hear a lot of stories that it's a little softer now, and you can't yell at anybody.
I heard that. I haven't had a chance to see it. I would love to take a trip down to MCRD and see how these drill instructors really dig.
What
into
would be
these
your
guys.
hope that it hasn't changed? I would imagine,
I would
right?
hope that it's gotten better. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad then. I mean, the Marine Corps is the Marine Corps, but I'm just like, I hope it's not soft. It can't be soft.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I hope not.
these are warriors that are going to go, right?
They're trained. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are trained to, like I said, I put my life on the line for them. I mean, hope they're ready to do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Charles Zimmer, great guy, Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club. You got to come by there on the 13th. Oh, man, you got a long drive, but I'll tell you about that. The
I drive
13th.
anywhere, man. You know me.
All right, well, we're going to have a little thing at his place on the 13th, and then we'll be at Santa Ana River Lakes on the 15th, teaching kids how to fish trout. I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah.
But Charles says, did the military let you guys fish when you were overseas? I've seen the Navy do it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can go on, like, when you hit port, you're allowed to go on some adventures and do that. I never did it.
Yeah.
And I kicked myself in the ass.
Did you start fishing at a young age or not?
Well, I did. I fished when I was 5. My
Yeah.
grandfather took me on what was the first boat he took me on? At the time was the Estrella. Then he took me on the Monte Carlo out of Ventura, I think, or out of Hooks.
Yeah, they were up there.
Yeah.
They're here now. You know?
That's what I saw. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then we would go on the Estrella Monte Carlo, and I think there was a couple more boats, but I would fish every Thursday in the summertime. School would get on that Friday. That following Thursday, we were fishing. My grandfather fished every Thursday religiously.
Yeah.
Every Thursday. So every Thursday we'd fish. Every Friday we'd catch what we caught. That was the plan. That's how it went. So I fished all the way up until I was in maybe sophomore in high school before we moved to Arizona. And
Then you're landlocked
then
a little
I'm
bit,
like,
right?
yeah, then I forgot how to fish.
Yeah.
And then when I finally came back, like I said, my buddy Jason said, let's go fishing. I already had been out of the Marine Corps, and I was like, I don't even know how to fish, man. But he's like, let's do it. So we went out, and like I told you the story, it spoke to me, and it was there, and I was like, I got to do something.
Yeah, yeah. In a way, you're kind of fulfilling what your grandfather started with you, right? Do you feel that way?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I figured I owe a lot to that man. I mean, he was in the Navy for I want to say 26 years. He cooked for his high thing was I cooked for 6 presidents, whether they were, current or past presidents. He cooked for 6 presidents.
That's a heck of a legacy.
Right, and I was just like, wow, okay, I didn't know that, but I'm happy he told me. But it was just his thing, and that's the reason why when I joined the military, I was like, I can't wait to get to his status. I want to go fishing every Thursday. I want to work on my garden every Sunday. Like my other grandfather, he was in the Army, and he played golf every Sunday. And I think it was Sunday or Saturday. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So if I got to go in the military to do that, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Does your love of country go up after your experience in the military? In other words, when I was 20 years old, I probably didn't appreciate what a great place this is.
Right.
And certainly my traveling around, living in China,
Right.
then you really figure out what a great place this
Especially
is.
when you go overseas. When you go overseas, you see some countries, you're like, wow.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
really
you hear
like
people
this.
that have never traveled outside of the country who say this place sucks and this place is lame, and you're like,
Right, yeah,
oh my
no
God,
idea.
you are woefully
Yeah.
ignorant
You have
about
no
what
idea.
is going on in the world, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so my question is, you go in as a young man, I don't know how high your patriotism is. It may have been high because your grandfather was
Right.
in the Navy for so many years and everything else, but at the end of it all, are you more patriotic, less patriotic?
I think I'm more patriotic when I got out.
Yeah,
Because when I was in, I was more doing the do. Where when I got out, now I respect the ones that are doing it now. Like so my love for my country is a lot more now than it was when I was in. Because when I was in, it was a job.
yeah,
I had to work. Not that I didn't like it, but I had to work to where now I appreciate it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I appreciate what the Marine Corps taught me. I appreciate what my brothers and sisters in arms are doing now. I appreciate being able to do certain things that other countries can't. So now it's a little bit higher than it was when I first went in. Yeah.
Brian Barber, everybody, from Mission Fish. We are having a great conversation so far. It's really great to have you there.
Yes, sir.
If you have a question for Brian, and we'll get into a little bit of the fishing here in a second. We have a brand new show that's going to premiere tomorrow, everybody. If you're listening, it is called At the Tackle Shop. And that will be down at Island Fishing Tackle
Nice.
with Sam De La Torre live Wednesday nights, where we'll be unboxing new product and Sam can answer any question you want. So more content for you. But Brian, back to you.
Yes, sir.
I think what you are doing, and now, so am I seeing this right? Do you take all these different? You take. Go ahead.
Everybody on that list.
Really?
When I first started nonprofit, it was more geared towards disabled veterans.
Yeah.
I get it. Disabled veterans need a lot of love and support. And I still take them on. Even though these signs don't say disabled, armed forces disabled, it's still that. But I opened it up in 2017. I went from Anglers Anonymous of America to Mission Fish. The acronym FISH stands for Fishing, Interacting, Sharing, and Healing. The reason I started that was to encompass more. As you see, I have corrections on there: law enforcement, dispatch, fire, EMS, nurses. To me, when I mention first responder, that's what I mean.
Yes.
When I'm overseas fighting the good fight, and you dial 911, the Marines are not going to show up. Unfortunately, we would love to,
Yeah.
but we're not.
Right.
But the firemen show up, the law enforcement shows up, your dispatcher's the one on your phone, the nurse is helping you in the hospital, the EMS is doing their thing. That's why I said if I can give them one day to fish, interact, share, and heal with others, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you mean to tell me that they do not suffer from PTSD, anxiety, or depression?
Yeah, it seems to me there's a common denominator here, and it's these people are under a tremendous amount of stress.
Yes, sir.
And then you throw on top of it, there are some parts of our society now that look down on cops, that look down. There's bad cops,
Oh, yeah, no,
there's
of
bad
course.
lawyers, there's bad teachers,
there's bad service
there's bad
members.
podcasters.
Right? Not here, not today.
But I have to believe the 99.9% of cops that I know are good human
I know
beings
a lot,
trying to
yeah.
do the right thing.
Right, I know a lot of them that do. I know a lot of cops. I know a lot of firemen. I know a lot of. I mean, everybody on this list. I know somebody. I have family in that field. But I give them the respect. I mean, if I can't take them out fishing for one day,
Right.
just to give them a chance to just decompress, why not? If
Yeah.
I can give them a chance to talk to somebody else, maybe that's not in the same field. Maybe they have a brother that's in this one or a sister that's in. Why not?
I've made the point many, many, many times, and I think you're going to agree with me that it's not about catching the fish, right?
It's not. To me, it's about, the funny thing is, it's about me and you doing what we're doing here while we're fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I'd rather hear the stories because I can come out and fish anytime, but I want to hear the stories. That's why I don't have an era on my service members. Any era. If you're disabled, you can be disabled or not. Obviously, any branch, but I highly favor my Marine Corps brothers. Just joking, but
Semper Fi, right?
Right. Hoorah after my guys. But it's just a matter. It's a matter of this, just sharing that camaraderie,
Having a conversation.
Yeah, and I take active duty service members. I take Gold Star family members. Had a person ask me why I take active duty service members. The reason I take active duty service members is they're going to get out one time, and when they get out, hopefully they're not in a lost pot like I was. So I'm trying to get them to talk to some of these Vietnam veterans who I know had it horrible when they got out.
Oh yeah, people were spitting on,
Man, right?
Right.
Till this day, I don't understand that part.
Right.
The Vietnam guys, the Iraq guys, the Afghanistan guys, the Persian Gulf guys. Those, I want them to talk to them and ask them how they did it, how they transitioned.
Yeah.
Like my brother Harry Franco, he got out, he was lost, he came fishing, but now he does his Army Dog creations and he makes some magnificent stuff. But that's his thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if he talked to somebody else that got him into that, or if he just researched it, or however he did it. But he found something that helps him.
Yes.
And that's what I do. I bring you guys on the boat to fish, but it's not about the
Not
fish.
about the
it's
fishing.
about it's like networking with your fellow veteran brothers and sisters to see how they deal with it.
Yes.
How do you deal with stress? Maybe different than how she deals with stress. Well, you ride horses. Okay, well, this one here does art. Okay, well, maybe you should try that. Hey, why don't you come try mine out? How we do this? And that's what it's about.
Being an alcoholic and going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, it kind of reminds me of that because I remember when somebody first suggested to me, you should go to an AA meeting. Like I couldn't even sit up straight because I was too drunk. But and I said, what is it exactly?
Right.
Well, it's a bunch of these guys that are alcoholics, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what possibly? how could that help me?
Right.
Until I walked into a meeting and heard the collective wisdom about how people had overcome something that I was unable to overcome.
Right.
And then I started, like you're saying, some people use art, some people go fishing, some people go on a hike,
Right.
on a walk on the beach at sunrise. And you start to share these things and it starts to open your eyes and you get that air of positivity,
Right.
which you and I both agree is so important in life.
Very, very important. It's very important. I mean, you have to have positivity. Negativity is just, there's no time or room for it. There's no time or room for it.
Don't you just you can feel it bring down a group if there's negativity going on, man, and you're just like
that body. You can feel the body language. Well, the funny thing is, when we do our trips, when a lot of the participants get there in the morning, a lot of them are very reserved.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very standoffish.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't want to be bothered, don't want to be talked to, and to me, that's when my challenge begins.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay,
I got to break through this.
yeah,
somehow.
I see him or I see her. If I see a girl, I'll look. Okay, yeah, my goal is to break her, not like physically, but just to go be her buddy.
Yeah.
Talk to her. If I see a guy that's having a rough time, you can see in the morning he's real uneasy, real timid. I go tell, hey, what's going on, man? You good? Okay, we'll talk later. And I leave it at that.
Yes.
Until we get on the boat. Once we get on the boat, once I get them on the boat, they're mine. There's nowhere for them to go. They can't outrun me. They can't hide from me. So I'll go fish next to them and just strike conversation and ask them what branch they were in, even though I might know already because I've done my research for them, doing my paperwork. But it's just, what branch were you in? When did you get out? How'd you like it? What do you do now? Things like that. And then, but my goal is to get them talking, not fishing. Even though they're fishing, it's to get that mind off of this, just to conversate with each other.
Right.
And then eventually they'll start talking back and having a good time, and you're like, okay. And then you kind of move, and one of my other board members or another volunteer will come fish next to them, and it's just a round robin. We just float all around the boat doing that. So we fish in the morning, and then we have what we do is at 11:11 we shut the boat down. The boat stops. We have a moment of silence for the ones that aren't there, the ones that couldn't make it, whether they were there, they weren't able to make it because personal problems or something. They just weren't able to be with us at that moment. But at that time, I also thank the ones that are there, and I give them the hand clap because they could be anywhere. They could be anywhere that day, but they chose to give me an opportunity to see what Mission Fish is about and see how we can help them. But after that, and we play taps, on the loudspeaker, and a lot of them, you can see that defensive wall come down. They see that they're not alone on the boat. They see that there's others that are struggling like them. They see that there are others that are going through it. And then we get back to fishing. But at some reason, like my brother Edgar said, right after that 11-11, the fish bite better. The positivity is tremendous. All those guys and girls that were really reserved are high-fiving. Now they're laughing and they're smiling, and we can't get them to stop talking. They're just, not that we don't want them to stop, but they just keep talking. It's like, then once I see that,
mission accomplished. Yeah,
mission accomplished. Then I'm good.
Is there a religious overtone to this at all, or not?
It's just,
no, right?
No, it's just.
How about you? Are you a religious guy or not?
Roman Catholic.
You are too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, see, look at that
There it
right
is.
there. We got that
I
Notre
see it.
Dame flag, and
Right.
we got Nuestra Senora de Guadalupe over there.
see her.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, you're Catholic, but you're probably like me. That's important to me, really important to me. But other people are Jewish or of other faiths. Some are atheists.
Right.
That's all okay.
It's all fine, yeah.
Yeah.
But just like being on a boat, there's no religion on the boat. There's no racism on the boat. There's no sexism. We're all just I'm trying to get them to accomplish the mission of fishing, interacting, sharing, and healing. That's all it's about.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm falling in love with not only you, but this program. Just talking to you, you are such an incredible human being.
Appreciate it.
I can see exactly what you're trying to do. In some funny way, I can tell you that if I call my two boys up, Patrick or Philip, and I say, boys, come on over. We're going to sit on the couch and we're going to talk for 3 hours. What do you think? And they say, you're drinking again, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pour me one, right?
If I say, hey, boys, let's jump on the half-day boat, go catch some barracuda, they're in. And guess what we do? We talk for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you're saying, right?
it.
Fishing
Like
is the door that opens up and allows the healing to take place.
Right. Without making it a session. You know what I mean? We don't.
Yeah.
And I don't make them sit. Okay, we're gonna sit on this boat, and you're gonna tell me everything that's wrong with you, and I'm gonna prescribe you medication, and I'm gonna tell you to do 10 Hail Marys. It's not about that.
No.
It's about just you being comfortable in the present moment with others that are going through it with you. And there's no one. If you're gonna cry. I've cried. I've had people cry. I've done it.
Yeah.
It's something about being together with the others that does it.
Army Dogs Creation says, when can we fish together again?
Right.
He wants to fish together.
I know, but Harry knows. He just calls me up. We can go fish anytime.
Right on. Well, bring me one of these times, too.
You're more than welcome.
We almost have a new website we're going to have up here pretty soon, so we're going to throw your link on there.
Awesome.
We're going to promote you any way we can because we are very pro-military at Freedmen Adventures, pro-police, and you're a living example of why that is true. Isaac says, how do we get vets to you? I'm a Marine veteran and work at the VA. Try to spread the word to other vets on things like this.
Right. Go to our website, missionfishusa.org. If you scroll down about halfway, there's a subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, it's going to ask you to put some information, name, phone number, basic contact information. We then get that data and we set it aside. And as we get trips, I send an email out to everybody that subscribe to us. Hey, there's 20 spots available on this boat. The first 20 to register, come on in, and the boats fill up.
How can people get donations to you? And will you take, like, if there's guys in the industry, like guys in the industry, will you take free trips and stuff?
That's another program I was going to talk to you about. Is we're trying to create another program to where, let's say you donated a trip for 2 on the native son.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, I got a trip for 2 on the native son. Like, I want to document that, put it down, and say, hey, Phil, I got 2 people, or I got myself and another 2 veterans that want to go.
Yeah.
I want to create that database to do that because I know that there's a lot of landings that want to help, and I know they can't say, hey, we can give you the whole boat.
Right.
But my thing is, even if I had a spot or 2 or 3 to be able to bring them on, I can run the event myself. I can just say, hey, this is what we're doing today. This is how we're going to do it. I can have the 11-11 by myself with just them if that's the case.
Yeah.
I got no problem doing that. But I think that's a program that I really would like to start.
I think that's a great idea because you're right. I mean, times are tough sometimes, so giving the boat for the whole day is tough
Of
for these
course,
guys.
it is. It
But
is.
they
And
can give you.
I don't expect that. I don't expect them to do that.
But they can give you spots, and then
Right.
you know, heck, if I'm not doing anything, I'll be there.
Yeah.
If we put up here tonight, hey, we need volunteers for a trip tomorrow, I guarantee you,
Oh,
have
yeah.
a whole bunch of people
Right.
willing to come out and do it.
Right.
Now it's good for the landing. They're doing a good thing.
Right.
They're getting some publicity while doing a good
Right.
thing.
And I do I take my pictures and my little videos, and
Yeah.
I usually hand it over to the wife, and she does all her social media. But I know that would be great. And getting gear and tackle helps. Believe it or not, when we're fishing, sometimes we take, we have our own set of rental rods that we take, but we also take some one-offs that people have given us that we know work. And if I see one of our participants actually taking it, like, oh, this is the best thing, I can't wait for the next one. And I'll change up their rod right there and give them one of those one-off rods. Here, Phil, use this one. You know, you start getting comfortable with it, oh, this is a nice rod. Yeah, it's an expensive rod, you know what I mean? Use it. And at the end of the day, when they're ready to go away, I say, hey, here. I give them the rod.
Wow.
The rod and reel and the combo, and they're kind of like, what? I mean, I think I've done it maybe 25 times, and out of all 25 times, I think I had maybe 23 to 24 criers on me.
Wow.
Because they just, I mean, it's a big deal for them because they use this rod all day. And they didn't really fall in love with it, but they felt it because they caught their first fish, or they caught a couple fish, or they caught the jackpot fish with it. But now they get to take it home. And I go, when I see you next time, make sure you bring your rod. And they go, aye, aye, sir. And, you know, we kind of hand salute each other, shake hands, and they go on their way. But that's what it's about.
And it's more than giving them the rod. You're giving them a hobby maybe for a lifetime, right?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I mean,
because now they get that bug.
Yeah.
And they're like, if it was this fun, I can't wait to go on the next one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, God, I can't emphasize enough, and now I'm going to talk about kids a little bit, but it's the same for adults. Getting away from the negativity of the media, your TikTok,
It is.
all that stuff, except for Freeman Adventures. I think kids should watch that 24 hours a day.
24 days.
I'm only kidding.
It should be on repeat.
They shouldn't be watching anything. They
that's
should
what
be
I
out in the
tell
great
them.
outdoors.
Well, I tell them, like I told the team, when we get there in the morning, I tell them who I am, why I do what I do, introduce myself, introduce my staff, and I tell them, listen, once again, I thank them for being there today. You're here.
Yes.
Take advantage of it. I don't want you guys to be paying no bills. I don't want you guys to be doing it. I want you to have a good time. I want you to get outside and fish. I want you to interact with your neighbor. I want you to share your stories with people. But I want you to heal. But at the same time, leave all your negativity right here on the land. We can't carry it out there. It weighs too much. Weigh the boat down.
Yeah.
Negativity is heavy out there. We don't need it.
Absolutely.
Leave it right here.
Jeff Yeomans from 540 Slingers. Brian, you and I have not met, but I believe we have a mutual friend, Val DeBolt. Do you know Val DeBolt?
Yeah, Val.
Who is Val DeBolt? Because
Val
Jeff Yeomans is a fantastic guy. You've got to meet him
Okay.
sometime.
Okay. Val is another one of those guys that's been on my trip before. He was actually on one of our fishing tournaments, and I think he got the jackpot fish. And then he mentioned he was I think he was in the Navy. I don't think he was in the Marine Corps. I would have remembered that. But Val is one of those guys he's seen me go from where I started to where I am. So he's seen me at like struggling, pushing, but he's also seen me when we're doing it. He's constantly, hey, you need help? Let me know. You need help? Let me know. So another one of those good guys to have around.
What's one of your favorite Marine Corps movies? Do you have one?
Oh man,
You have a whole bunch or what?
I got a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
What's a good one?
Heartbreak Ridge.
Oh, you like Heartbreak Ridge?
Man, yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that guy's great.
Yeah, right?
Great, yeah.
That is a great movie, huh?
Yeah, it's just something about because once it was filmed in Pendleton, but
Right, it
but
was.
just seeing the way he was, and I know there's some Marines that are like that still.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they still that
Rough,
cool,
tough,
yeah, can't get
beer
that out of them. Oh
drinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're like that's my guys.
You know, it's funny. I mean, on the one hand, I struggle with alcohol. And the other hand, I look at a guy like that and I admire him for some reason
Right?
because,
You're like,
yeah, they're so dedicated to being tough guys.
Right? Oh yeah.
Those are the guys you want to go into battle to defend this
We do.
country.
We go on before we go on deployment. We usually go on. They usually let us go for a couple weeks. Like, hey, go on leave, get your things out, and then come back. And when you come back, we're going to hit it. We're getting ready for deployment.
Yeah.
So we would go out on leave, and believe it or not, we drink pretty heavy. You know what I mean? It was the beer would flow, the liquor would flow, and it'd be on.
What you're telling me Marines drink a lot? Come on,
just a little bit, just a little bit. So when we come back, we're gonna go on a 5-mile run.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, talk about the smell. Talk about the guys that are just sweating, right?
Yeah,
But
you
like
can smell the
said-
booze, right?
Like you said, those are the guys that I know are gonna be with me.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yes.
They're sweating that alcohol out.
Yeah.
They're puking in the corner.
Yeah.
But they puked and they caught back up.
Yes.
They didn't puke and, oh, I'm out. They're, let's get it. And they're right back in it. And that's what I think you said. That is what drives us to makes us a little bit different is we just go.
And are there those kind of individuals still in America in our youth?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of soft kids nowadays. It seems
Yeah.
like that, trigger alerts and you got to go find a safe space
Right,
if somebody says
right.
something that offends you.
I don't know. My son's in the Air Force, and he joined the Air Force last year. He just graduated boot camp, and now he's stationed at Travis. And I was talking to him about it. He goes, Dad, I wish I would have joined the Marine Corps. And I was like, why? He goes, Air Force is just too soft.
Oh, wow.
Well, he knew, because I was hard on him. He
Yeah.
was my firstborn.
Yeah.
And I was in the Marine Corps, so basically he was in the Marine Corps with me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
So he was like, yeah, the Air Force is just...
You trained him well.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, bud. I go, I'm not going to lie to you, man. If I had to do it again, I probably would have went in the Air Force too, because they get all the good stuff.
Yeah,
man. They
right.
get all the new stuff. The Marine
Right.
Corps gets the very bottom after everybody done used and abused it. But I go, just think, man, you'll be working in the AC unit, having the finest food. You'll be all right.
You look at how some kids are being raised now. I just like whenever I have some kind of advice that I would give to somebody, I go back to my kids because I love my kids.
Right.
And so whether it would be a racist remark or whatever it would be, I would tell the person who's the recipient of that remark not to be destroyed, not to feel terrible, to look at the person and say, what a freaking moron.
Right.
He is not going to control how I feel about myself.
Right.
I'm moving on with my life and leaving this idiot behind.
Right.
But man, I mean, it seems like the instruction now is, you have to be destroyed if somebody says something
Right.
to you like that. That's bull,
I
right?
go by what my mom used to always tell me is sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt me.
Right.
They won't.
And that's not to justify those
No,
remarks or
not at
anything
all.
else. They're moronic.
Yeah.
They're evil, maybe.
Yep.
But you don't let people take control of your emotions, son, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and the Marine Corps, I would think,
Oh, man, that's out the window.
yeah, I mean, that's nothing, right?
Yeah,
And somebody calling you a name.
Oh, man,
That happens every 30 seconds, I'm
If-
sure.
If not 20 seconds. It's just bad.
Yeah.
But it's a good bad.
Yeah.
It builds that character.
I mean,
in
it's
them.
the same. I mean, it may not be the same, but like when I get together with old
Oh,
friends,
oh.
we're all effing with one
yeah,
another,
but on
you
the
know?
boat, on the boat. But like I was
Yeah,
on
that
the boat,
too.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, we start off on the boat as kind of a mixed family. You know what I mean? Like everybody doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
We're starting to get comfortable, and Phil's in the Army, but he's this, and Brian was in the Marine Corps, and he's this. But as soon as that, once again, that 11-11 time comes, now everybody's talking shit. Now it's flowing.
That's the
Come
critical.
on, Phil.
That's
Come on, Phil. What do you got? Oh, I got another one, Phil. Oh, you don't have one yet. I'm waiting on you. That's too ahead of you. You know what I mean? But that's what it's about.
Yeah.
The friendly jabs, because
Yes.
that's what we had when we were in.
yes.
When we were in the Marine Corps, you had those jabs.
Yeah.
When you were in the service, you had those jabs, and that's what kept you guys going. And like I said, when you get out, you lose those. You don't have those jabs. You can't jab with the civilian like you did with us. 'Cause they're
Right.
like,
They don't get it, right?
Hey, what are you doing? Never mind. You missed it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But that's what it's about. It's about having a good time.
So that 11-11 moment is critical to every
Crucial.
trip.
It's crucial. It has to happen. We do it every trip. It's something that I feel strongly about. It's just one of those things that it's almost like the hurdle. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we made it here. It's 11-11. And as you know, if you add 11-11 together, it's 22. And every day, 22 veterans commit suicide. And to me,
awful.
that was the time. That was the time we do it.
Good for you.
That was the time we do it.
Army Dogs Creations. I needed something to do besides sitting at home and doing nothing. I needed to keep my mind off the bad thoughts.
Right.
I started woodworking and laser work to keep my mind busy. Keeping
Yeah.
your mind busy is essential, right?
It is, and it's kind of funny because you would think that it would be easier to not stay busy. Like you'd want to just kind of be in the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes my brothers and sisters need that extra mental push from themselves. let them know that they still got it. They can still do something.
Yeah.
They may not be in the service anymore, and their mentality of, oh, I got to go to war is not there. But if they're able to do something like him, I mean, he does some amazing work. I mean, I hope you check it out after the show here.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
How do we find him?
I know he's on Facebook under Army Dog Creations, and I think he has an Instagram as well. But
Army Dog, you can go ahead and put that up, and I'll read it. So yeah,
really good stuff.
Yeah,
really
it sounds great. I know that if I'm not busy, man, my mind is not. It just goes where it shouldn't go.
Right.
And part of the, I do this thing called the morning briefing every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the inception of the morning briefing, Brian, was my brain saying,
dump it.
Well, no, it was.
Let me get everything. Right.
I can't be hungover and be positive in the early mornings. So if I'm committed to doing the morning briefing, it'll keep me from drinking or doing something stupid. So I mean, it's just.
I'm proud of you.
Well, it's just something I have, because I'm still an alcoholic.
Right, but you're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to do that.
I know. It took me a while.
That's why a lot of my veteran brothers and sisters, that's what they do. That's why I press it on the boat. You may suffer. That's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. We all suffer.
Yes.
You're not any different than us. You may be a different branch, but we're all suffering together. And that's why I want them on the boat. We're all here together. There's no, well, you're not. Well, just take the time and be in the moment.
Race is not important.
Nothing.
Your status in the community, how much money you make.
Nothing. And you could be a millionaire, but if you're not right mentally, it's like having zero in the bank.
God, you look at some of these people. I forget the name of the guy that would travel around the world. What was his
Anthony
name?
Bourdain?
Yeah, the poor guy. I mean, he ended up committing suicide. Yeah. There's a guy who, by all looks, had the world by the huevos, right? I mean, money,
well, that guy from the
travel,
and that guy from the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Yeah,
DJ, I mean, I was so shocked because that's me. You put on that smile every day, and you think, "Oh, this guy must be living the life."
Yep.
And then when you wake up to news like that, you're like, "What was really going on?"
Yeah, Pagliacci, that opera about the clown that always had the smile, but inside was suffering.
Dying. Yeah, you just don't see that.
Yeah.
Because we're not so forthcoming with it.
Right.
Because once again, people think that, if you have it, you're this type of person.
Right.
And it's not the case for my boat. When I tell everybody come on my trip, please, if you want to cry, please cry.
Yes.
More than likely, 99% of the time, I will be crying with you.
Yeah.
Because that's just me.
Yep.
And when I see you break that, I'm right there with you.
I interviewed a Gold Star mom and daughter, and we were on a fishing trip. She almost had me in tears. I mean, to listen to how difficult her life was and continues after many, many years.
Right.
Tears your heart out.
It does, and that's one of the reasons why I take my Gold Star family members out. It's because of the fact of their loved one will never be forgotten with me. If I can get you on the boat, whether you fish or you just come for the ride, enjoy the islands, come around the ones that are there. Come around and see the guys and girls that have, that are still here, that have not committed to suicide, or that have not, had something overseas, but they're here. Come enjoy it.
Army Creations, I love Mission Fish. I'm right there with you, man, and I'm just getting to know you, because at the show, you and I, we kept saying, hey, we got to get together, but we have no time to talk.
Right, the last time the snow drowned us out, so I wasn't able to get down here. I was like, it's snowing in Victorville.
I know.
You probably had to look like, get out of here. You probably checked the weather, like, it is snowing in Victorville.
Oh, I believe you.
But I was just like, this is ridiculous. How come I not get down the hill to come see Phil? I was like, this is not happening.
Dude, I'm honored to have you here. No question about it. I really am. Greg Bates says, I'm in anytime you need a volunteer. I'll be there. There's a guy. There's Army Dog Creation says, I'm so ready. Yeah. Andres Arredondo, I'm on active duty currently 11 years stationed up at March Air Force Base in Riverside and would love to join you on a trip and definitely help volunteer if however possible. Andres, you're the kind of guy that we really honor and love. Yeah. So he can go to the website?
Yeah, go to the website, missionfishusa.org. Scroll down, hit that subscribe button. Send me your information.
And did we make it clear how people can donate? They go to the website?
They go to the website, they can donate, or
you guys are a 501c3?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Yes,
so they get a tax write-off, right?
Sir.
Yeah. And so they can go there and donate.
They can donate. There's PayPal, there's Venmo. I think that's what we've got. These donations we got. I think there's a donate now button. I think that might be like for credit card or Square, but not 100%.
Guys, there's nobody else that does so much for our country. I mean, I've been dealing with you guys for a long time, taking you
watch.
fishing, and then kids, and now I'm doing
Right.
the Mexico thing. I jump
I
around.
gotta come down
There's,
with that.
I would love it, you know. But if you can make a donation, even a small donation, right?
So what we do is we provide the fish therapy for our veterans. Our list here.
Yeah.
On the boat, we cover their fish cleaning. We cover their galley tab. We cover their rental rod. They pay for nothing. All you do is
Fishing
show up.
license, everything.
Covered.
Yeah.
All you do is show up. They show up in the morning. All I ask them is to bring a positive attitude and a jacket. That's it.
Some can't bring a positive attitude, and that's
Right.
still okay, right?
Well, all I do is ask.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing you. Bring
Yeah,
a positive
right.
attitude. Right. If you have an attitude, come on the boat. But I guarantee you, by the time we're done, it'll be away.
Yeah. Yeah. Did your microphone screw up or something?
I think
No,
right
you're
there.
good. Yeah, you're
I
good.
knocked it out. My foot was stuck on it. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're good. So, have you seen transformations within a single day? Like you see a guy come out who's
All the time. All the time.
Can
Like I
you-
told you, that's my goal.
Right.
When I get on the boat in the morning, when I get to the landing, I'm scoping. I'm doing my research right then and there, and I'm looking to see who is my target. Maybe it's just the Marine in me, but I'm like, who's my target for the day? Who's the one that I see not talking to anybody? Who do I see that registered that doesn't know anybody here? Who's never been on a trip before? And that's my target. I make myself known to them who I am. But my goal, like I said, is to not necessarily break them, but let them know that they're okay. Let them know that I'm right there with them. Let them know that the other 25 people on the boat are there with them. 24 people on the boat are there with them. Let them know that they're in good hands, that we're not gonna let nothing happen because we're here. I just want them to understand that we're all going through it together. It's not just me or you going through it. We're all going through it together. And if you got something that you need to get off your chest, speak to somebody. We have people on the boat. There's no one here that's going to discriminate on who you are or what you got to say. And that's why this year we're starting to incorporate having a certified clinician on each of our boats.
Wow, I was going to ask you that because you're going to run into somebody at time you may have already that are
Oh yeah.
suicidal, talking about those kinds of thoughts.
Yeah, it happens.
Suicide.
So we're actually going to be going through some training ourselves to be able to handle situations like that upon
That's
ourselves.
beautiful.
But we actually have a clinician on each boat, and that's thanks to the Genesis program.
Wow, that is fantastic. So if you see somebody who's obviously having a lot of trouble, and you can see that they need some help beyond the trip, you're able to handle that.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's beautiful. That is. I imagine there's some emotional hugging going on these
like
trips.
I'm telling you, you got to come on a trip.
I'm there. I'm
when
there.
you go on a trip, you're gonna be like, wow, I see it. Because you'll see guys, especially when we play taps, the ones that know, when they lost their brother or sister, and they know that they're struggling at that moment, and they know that they could be anywhere else, but they're there with us. When you see them tears come, that's when you're gonna be like, okay. And I try to make my speech different every time because I try not to say the same speech, and I usually tell them what's from my heart at the moment when I'm there. I said, like I told you, I tell them thank you for being here because you could have been anywhere, but you're giving me the opportunity to show you what I can do. I'm not trying to give you the world, but I'm trying to let you live in a world that's better.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Sirwall. Joe, how are you, my friend? Always good to see you. Hi, Phil and Brian. Love and respect for all our service members of our armed forces. Thank you for still taking care of your brothers and sisters that served. What a great gift after a great day.
Right.
Do you feel some responsibility when you're doing this too?
It's funny.
Not?
I don't. To be honest, I don't feel it for like 2 days after.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I think I'm just so
Caught up in the moment, having fun, and
I think
enjoy-
the day I'm out there, like I'm going through it. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be a sponge.
Yeah.
If you're feeling negative, I try to pull that negative away from you, but I'll take it on myself because I know I can disperse of it somehow, some way. But I try to make you feel in such a positive manner that, like, okay, I'm not negative anymore. But I got it, so I take it on my shoulders and I wear it. I wear it for 24 to 48 hours.
What do you mean exactly? How do you do that?
If you're not feeling good,
Yeah.
and you're feeling a little
Down.
the way you are,
Yeah.
I try to give you everything positive.
Yeah.
And then when you're telling me why you're negative and why you're feeling that way, I keep it to myself. I don't tell anybody. I keep it in. I keep it inside. I'm like, okay, this guy's feeling this way because of this, and I'll replay that over and
Yeah.
over and over. And then sometimes I'll talk to the wife and give her a little breakdown of it, or sometimes I just keep it. And then 2 days later, I kind of release it. Whether
Yeah.
I go sit outside in the backyard and cry and let them know, like, man, that was difficult.
Yeah.
Like, I hope he's doing well. And I try to reach out to him, 2-3 weeks later. But I try not to give them that look of woe me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
like, you're all right. You're okay. You gotta cry, man.
Yeah.
I'll cry with you.
No biggie, man.
No biggie. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Let's do it together. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna let you cry by yourself. Like I told you, I'm a crier. I'm definitely a crier. I will cry at any moment.
Yeah, I find myself more as I get older, a little bit more like that way.
more
You know,
emotional. I think
I've always been a hugger.
Yeah,
I like hugging people.
Yeah, I
you know,
think
so
it's
you,
just
I
the fact
hugged
that
you
we're
tonight.
getting- I
Yeah.
think we're getting older. We're starting to respect things a little bit more and understand things
Yeah, I
a
think
little
so.
bit more that it's okay.
Yeah, but
It's okay. Yeah.
my wife speaks no English, so I'll go like I normally like when I'm crazy about a movie, I'll go to it 432 times. So I've seen Top Gun, for example.
Oh, okay.
Seen that 800 times. Then I took her, so I literally look at her ear for the movie because I'm translating the movie on the fly.
Oh, okay.
And by that time, I gotta,
Right.
I know the movie,
Right.
so I translate on the fly. But once in a while, we'll get to a part in a movie that's emotional,
it'll get you.
and then I'll like stutter a little bit,
Yeah,
and she'll
you'll
go,
Yeah.
"You're crying." She'll point at me, and she
Yeah.
goes, "You're crying," and I go, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
No estoy llorando. I'm not crying.
Right.
But it's funny. I mean, you get that way when you get a little
yeah.
bit older, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong. My thing is, if you're gonna be around me, try to cry. I cry a lot.
Yeah.
I do. It's just something about life. It's just so more appreciative now than it was back then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if some of these things are true, but I see some of this stuff on TikTok or whatever it is once in a while where somebody like is hungry or I see like some guy go up to a woman in a supermarket and go, "Hey, I don't have enough money for these shoes.
Oh yeah.
Can you help me out?" And then, some woman you can see doesn't have a lot of money.
Right.
She goes, "Yeah, no problem." And then the guy gives her $500. Or I want to cry when I see that.
Oh, I do.
I want to cry when I see that woman who doesn't have that much.
Right.
Saying, I've been in tough situations
Right.
before. You need shoes. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's phony or
Well,
contrived or
I've
what,
done
but
that. I've done that numerous times.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughters see me do that numerous times. So it's funny because, like, if I'm doing something, I'm like, "Here, keep it," and they're kind of like, "What are you talking about?" And I see it in their eyes, and I'm like, "Here I go. So I try to hug it out, and I'm on my way because I know it's coming. But it's
me too.
just-
I was raised that way. When I was 19, my parents threw me down to Costa Rica for a year to work in the Catholic missions. I went to Mexico for 2 years, worked in the Catholic missions. I watched my dad run St. Vincent de Paul, helping the poor for 35 years.
So
Watched my mom do all that. So it's I'm not talking about somebody who I think is pulling a fast one on me, but
Right.
somebody who legitimately is hurting. If I got $4 on me and
I'll give you my $4.
I'll give you the $4.
I will.
And yeah, me too. I've been that way my whole life, which has got me into some trouble sometimes. But
Right. But you're like, I think it outweighs the positive though. Like you said, the
I
positive
do.
is like, oh well.
yeah, absolutely.
I'll learn.
Yeah.
I'll learn.
Absolutely. Joe Sirwald says to give them a rod and reel to take home and come out and use it again. Great therapy.
Right, it is. And it is, and it's just something about that. Because I know when I got my first rod from my grandfather, I was ecstatic. I thought he gave me $1 million. I couldn't wait to use it. And the funny thing is, I still have that rod today. That's the rod that I took out when my buddy Jason said, "Let's go fishing." I go, "Dude, this is the rod I had when I was 6. I'm using it." Mind you, I was, I think, 40 at the time. And he goes, "You had that rod for how long?" I go, "Many years." He laughed at me, not in a bad way, but he goes, "Man, there's so many new things out there." Because he was laughing at my rod. I think the rod I had didn't even have a name on it. Like the brand, I think it was a Penn reel that I had, but it was just the fact that it was mine. This is mine. So when I give something like that to them to use, and it's funny when I see, because they'll come back, "Hey, Brian, this is the rod you gave me. This is
That's
it. So they
bitchin'.
got it.
That's
They got it."
bitchin'.
I'm like, "Attaboy."
Yeah, it's a gift, which indicates your love for them.
Right.
But it's more than a gift. It's that whole idea of propelling them into the future, into a great outdoor activity that we all agree
Yes.
is really healthy, right?
It is. Not to mention, how much more healthy can it be? First, you're being out there in the sun. You got the nice water around you. You look at the beautiful islands, and then you're eating a galley burger, right? I mean, nothing wrong with the galley.
It's like heaven, right?
And then you're catching fish, and then you take that fish home, and you make some ceviche, you make some fried fish with it, you make whatever. It's just it's a whole circle. Like this is it's just a great day.
And fishing takes you, as you well know, it takes you to some of the most beautiful parts of the world, doesn't it? It just does. I mean,
And to me, none of my trips have been the same. They've all been different. We've all caught some really great fish. We've caught some small fish, but to me, it's not about that. It's just about the camaraderie of being in the moment with others.
what is your favorite kind of fishing? What do you like to do? Do you like freshwater, saltwater?
I
or
don't know how
do
to
you just
freshwater fish. Believe it or not,
you don't know how?
I have no idea.
I'm really bad at it too. My kids are better at it than me.
And that's we'll come back, but that's another program I'm trying to start this year, the freshwater program.
Oh, cool.
Because I know that there's people that are afraid to get on the boats.
Or they get seasick.
Get seasick.
Yeah.
So, I can't go on your trips. Okay, well now you can because we're fishing off the rocks right here. But to go back to your question, my favorite fish to catch is a lingcod.
Really?
Lingcod fishing.
It's pretty fun,
because
right?
they're lean, mean, and green like us U.S.
Yes. Yeah. So you fish a lot up there in the Channel Islands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's pitching. I love that, man.
Right.
Can you show that to the?
Yeah. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, that is friggin' awesome.
But that's my sanctuary.
Yeah,
That's my sanctuary.
brings you peace.
Oh man, none like no other. Because I remember fishing with my grandfather, and I didn't know what it meant then. Then it was more of I fished a lot when I was younger with him because I would catch his limit in mine. Because back then, I'm pretty sure you remember, what did a lot of the older guys do on the boats? They played poker.
Yeah, all the time.
Right?
Yeah,
So
some of them, that's all they did.
That's all my grandfather did. So that's why he brought me, was to catch the fish.
Oh, I love
See?
it.
He brought me and said,
So he could tell your grandma, we're going fishing, right? She left the poker part out, right? Yeah, I know all those guys on the
Right.
Redondo special.
That's all.
They told their wives, hey, sweetheart, I'm going to,
That's what my
catch
grandfather
fish.
did.
And boom, man.
That's
I mean,
what
the
my
boat
grandfather
hadn't left the
did.
docks.
They left the dock, and they were sitting. He had his little tray out with the little coin holder and their bill holder, and he would play cards the whole ride out. He'd come out there and fish with me until he catch one fish. He'd catch one fish, put his rod back, and say, finish.
Yeah.
My job was to catch all his and mine.
So
And-
you could prove to grandma you did go fishing.
Right. And then what we do is, on the way back, if he was winning, I was able to get a burger or something from the galley. If he was losing, I got a candy bar.
That is too much, man. I love it,
I was
man.
like, man, I didn't know. Then I was working hard. I didn't know he got me, though. He got me.
What? And that was on the Channel Island boats?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I worked on the Redondo special and the same guys. I forget what day of the week it was, but man, they'd come and, if we got into a yellow bite or something, maybe they'd come out and try to catch a yellowtail or
I
something.
don't remember any of that type of fishing. I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
remember it was all calico fishing for us.
Yeah, well, you're up north there, so maybe you had a little bit.
It was just all, to me, it was all calico fishing.
Yeah.
So when we came out this time with Jason, I was like, what are we using? Some of the stuff I was like, this is a heavy sinker. That's what we're using. I'm like, what? Okay, I guess.
And lingcod are great to eat, and fun to catch. And you ever go south of the border and fish?
I haven't.
Oh man, I got to take you.
I'm ready.
Are you?
I'm ready.
Man, it's fun down
What time
there.
we leaving?
Don't tempt me.
It's 7 o'clock now. I can go home and meet you in San Diego. Or...
Don't tempt me, Brian.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I love fishing down there. People are so nice, and I enjoy the fishing.
I told my wife a long time ago that I want to retire there.
You know, really?
I do. I would love to. She
Yeah,
laughed at me.
it's cheap. You got an oceanfront
See?
view,
Can you
and
tell Jessica that?
Jessica, honestly, listen.
Listen.
Don't listen to the media about. The world's a dangerous place, but if you behave yourself, everything is good down there. Not that many tourists get killed, and the people that are afraid to go to Mexico never go. I've been going for 50 years. You stay out of those bad parts, just like you stay out of Los Angeles or Chicago, or
Right.
you don't go looking for trouble, and things are going to work out just fine, I'll tell you.
See, I told her, I go,
Jessica, I'll talk to you later. We'll get together.
yes.
Yeah.
I told her, I would love to just go down there and just fish all day long.
So I was talking to a guy who moved down there, Ensenada fisherman, and he's got a bar down there and he's got a house. So I asked him, I said, what's rent down here like? And he goes, well, I know guys who have a decent place for $200 a month. If you want a house on the beach, security, and all the bells and whistles and everything, it's going to cost you $900, $1,000 a month. And that's like a 3-4 bedroom house. And I'm just like, wow, right?
You're like, that's a studio here with no kitchen, right?
In a bad part of town.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a universal commode. Everybody uses it.
Where you really are in a bad part of town instead
Right.
of. I think thing about Mexico that scares everybody is, of course, there's a foreign language.
course.
So if you don't
But she
speak
speaks
Spanish,
Spanish, so
oh, there you are.
So I'm like, so
Oh,
what are we,
but she's
what are we
not-
doing?
Is she
What are-
Mexican? Or?
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
saw
okay.
the name, Jessica Garcia
Yeah,
Barber. and that's-
yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, vamos, Jessica.
There it is. Man.
Or at least go down there and feel it out, check it out.
Right.
You know,
We did a cruise, and we had fun on the cruise, but like I told her,
you went down to Ensenada. Or
yeah, we did the
yeah,
one from
yeah, that's
from
fun.
Long Beach here.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's do it. She goes, I'm scared. I go, oh, man.
No, let me tell you. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever told this story, but I'll tell you. This was crazy. I think the statute of limitations is run, so I'm okay now. You know, I took my kids, and there was really a lot of stuff going on in Tijuana.
Right.
Decapitations.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of lovely stuff going on with the cartel. This was, I don't know, 20 years ago or so. And Hugo Torres, who's was the mayor of Rosarito Beach at that time, invited me and Pete Thomas, who was writing for the Los Angeles Times, to go down and check out the situation. He wanted to make it clear it's not as bad as blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. So we go into the Rosarito Beach Hotel, and I mean, driving down the street, there was no tourists. No, it was spooky, kind of like.
Right. You're like,
Yeah, it was weird, but I wasn't. No, I mean, because I've traveled down there and I was right next to Nicaragua during the Sandinista Revolution, so. I mean, I got my hair ripped out by my hair by the Sandinista soldiers. I thought I was going to die, so
Right.
I've been through a little bit.
you know a little bit.
So we sit down to lunch, and we're having lunch, and my son Philip is going, Dad, and I'm going, what? And he's going, Dad, this is so cool. Look at those guys and we had surrounded us all these giant Mexican guys in trench coats with these guns underneath.
Just waiting.
And
yeah.
Philip's going like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm going
This
like,
is neat.
this is pretty bitch.
Yeah,
Actually.
this is pretty badass.
But yeah, I mean, it's safe down there. It really, totally is. As long as you go to the right. I know that doesn't
Right?
sound like it, but
Yeah, but this was like you said. It's just knowing where you're going. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I'm not trying to venture out. I told him I'm not venturing off. I'm
No.
going to where I'm at, hitting the water, coming back, and living the life.
guys like Frank Savino, he ran the Enterprise for many, many years. He's ran sport boats. He's living down there now. Loves it. Absolutely loves it. I met a guy who just built a place in Puerto Nuevo. He moved from Colorado down there. Loves it. Can't get enough. Can't believe how cheap it is, how safe
Right.
it is. And
That's
you
what
know.
I mean, I heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that would be the dream.
Well, I'll go down there with you and Jessica. We'll go down and see,
whenever
check
you're
it
ready,
out.
You let me know.
Anthony Amalfitano, who happens to be a great father, a great friend, a great person. Anthony says, looks like somebody's going to be joining us at Santa Ana River Lakes. Don't worry, brother. I don't know how to freshwater fish very well either, but it's going to be a great day.
Right.
So that's going to be April the 15th, tax day.
Okay.
We're going to be at Santa Ana River Lakes, and we're
Okay.
teaching kids how to fish. If you want to come out and be part of it, and
Yeah, because
you
I had nothing about it. Man.
and actually, we'll hook you up with Chuck Zimmer, and maybe you could go out to the Redondo Rod and Gun Club and give a little speech and maybe get some donations out there.
I'm up for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. You let me know where to be, I'll be there.
All right, perfect. Joe Sirwald, what a great platform to use in the San Diego area with all the military in the area. Great fishing, and to get them out and get things off their minds. Great views, and you never know what you will catch. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win deal,
it
as
is.
Joe points out.
It is. You can't really go wrong. I mean, it's just you're guaranteed to catch fish when we come on our trips, and that's the icebreaker. It's just getting them that first bite, because they have no idea what they're doing. Some of these guys have never been on a boat before. They never fished before, so they have no idea. They're timid, scared. They're like, what am I supposed to do? So we'll drop it down for them, set them up, ready. Here you go. Hold that. And you're gonna feel this. This is what you're gonna feel. When you feel that, just start winding up. That's it. That's it. You don't have to pull and slam like you see people do. They go, just wind up. Next thing you know, they're quiet. They're like, okay, because they're so focused on that feel.
Yes.
They're like,
They're waiting for it.
yeah. They're like, and all of a sudden they go, oh. Is that it? I go, yeah, that's it. I go, give it a minute, because he's tasting it. Let him bite it. Once they
Yeah.
bite it, you'll feel it. And I go, just wind it up. And they'll wind up. And like, yeah. And then it's, once they do that, it's done.
They're hooked.
They're done.
Yeah, they're hooked more than the fish is hooked.
Right.
Right.
They're just like, all right. And then before you know it, they're baiting their own hook. They're dropping their own things down. They're using fishing terminology. I'm like, okay, you really grasping it. You really got it.
Yeah. I never really realized how profound a fishing trip can be. When I was a kid, it was just a fishing trip.
Right.
And I enjoyed it and I loved it, but I never thought about how it could change a
I
person's
didn't either.
trajectory in life or anything
I was
else, right?
catching limits. My job was to catch limits for me and my grandma. That was my job.
Yeah.
I would get
Let
on,
him play poker.
Yeah, I would get on the boat. I'd go up to the captain's wheelhouse because my grandfather knew the captains, and I would sleep until we got to the fishing
That's
ground.
awesome.
And then the captain would wake me up. Andy Velasky would wake me up, and he goes, "Come on, we got to go back down, Billy." So I'd go back down, and that's where I'd fish, and he would catch his fish, and then he'd go back in the galley and poker, and I'd limit out for both of us.
Oh my God, that's what a childhood!
Right.
What a great memory.
Yeah,
And your grandpa
known, right?
playing poker, I love that too.
You know, I would crawl under the table because they, the old guys would drop quarters because they couldn't pick them up.
Yeah.
And I'd go down there and maybe pick up $1 or $2 in quarters. And,
Oh, they let you keep it?
oh
or?
yeah. Well, yeah. I just thought, all right, that was cool.
That
I
is
got $1,
so
right?
awesome, man.
$1 in quarters.
And those memories will never leave you.
Never.
Guaranteed.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
I think it's fantastic. Your wife is laughing her tail off. She put a bunch of laughing emojis up there. Jessica, we're not kidding. We're dead serious about that.
We are going. We are going.
So many great places to eat and so many great
man.
places to see.
We did a trip with my buddy Rick on. We drove down there and spent the night at a hotel, and then we drove across the border early that morning and got on the boat, went fishing, came back, and we went to this restaurant right there. You know, it's another. You know where they have like the touristy area.
Yeah.
And then there's like the restaurants that are not really restaurants; they're more like canopies.
Yeah.
set up, but they have like it's almost like it's the home kitchen that they've turned. So anyhow, we go there, and the lady brought I think 3 buckets of beer, and then she brought each of us like 6 tortillas and each of us beans and rice. And I think our bill for it was 6 of us was maybe like $30.
Yeah. It's incredible,
And
right?
You want more? And we're like, yeah. So she brought more, and I was like, are we paying like as a bundle? And he goes, just eat, man. They just bring it. It's not like you're paying for this taco. They're just bringing it. They're paying you. You're paying them to feed you until you're full. And I was like, what? And I didn't think I was like, this is crazy.
And it's like
You don't like that. You don't get that here.
no, I mean, and you can have like requests, like
Yes.
you can drive up to a restaurant. Let's say you caught a bunch of fish, and hey, I wonder if they'll cook it for us. And not only is the place like closing, so you can see they're closing. You walk up and you say, oh, and they're like, what, what's up? And, oh, we had some fish, and we come on in, yeah, we'll
Right.
stay open. You
Yeah,
know?
it was just I was so shocked. Like, wow, this is badass.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like being at home with family because they're just like, sit down. What do you want? What kind of tacos you want? There's a list. You just tell them what you want, and they bring it, and you just eat. And you want more? Yeah, and more. And it's like salsa. They bring you 4 different salsas. You're like, holy crap.
Yeah, and I think it's worth also realizing that I think that the wage down there now for a day's work, I think the minimum wage, not hourly, daily, is about $11 a day.
Are you
So
serious?
yeah. So some people will say, well, then I'm going to tip according, tip
What do
according
you-
to
come on.
American standard. It's
Tip
on
to
a
your
$10 bill or a $5 bill. I'll tell you a funny story about that. That guy, Pete Thomas, when he was working for the LA Times, he jumped in the swimming pool and he had all his cash in his pockets. So he goes up to his room. This is great, Brian. And he lays all the cash on his bed. And then we go out to dinner.
no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what's coming.
Yeah. And so we get back and there's
None.
roses all over. Well, the maid thought that was, yeah. And he's like, oh, whatever.
Right? You want to chalk that one up and keep moving. I mean, what do you do about that?
It was so funny, man.
What do you do about
Yeah.
that?
But I mean, he's a giving guy too. Like I watched my son, some guy came up to my son at a gas station and said, hey, I've run out of gas. And he had his gas can and he started going to a long story. My son goes, go ahead. You know,
Right.
so I look over, the gas can's like 18 gallons or something. I go, hey, he's up to $50. And he goes, I don't care.
Right,
You know,
like,
he needs it, I guess.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. I ain't worried about it. It'll come back.
Dan Smith says, great show. Isaac throws us $20 tonight on the show. Just made a $20 hit to us. We appreciate it so much. Great show, great cause for what you're doing, supporting our vets. I have
Appreciate it.
so much respect for you
Right.
after talking to you.
Right.
I think that's going to show through in
Yeah,
this.
I heard nothing but good things about you. Like I told you. When
Well, I
first,
have a lot of people
when
who
I
lie
first
out there
started-
for me.
when I first started this, I reached out to Joe and I told him what I was doing.
Great
And
guy.
he goes, "You gotta talk to Phil, and you gotta talk to Phil." And I didn't know you at the time. I had no idea who you were, and I just remember looking you up, and I was like, "Man, this guy does some crazy stuff." Then I was like, "Wait, he's in China. What the hell is he doing? That's
Yeah,
pretty
right.
badass, right?" But this was like maybe 3 to 4 years ago when I started, and it was like, "You got to meet him." And we just kind of separated, not because like anything bad. He just went to the drill field and did his thing. and
Yeah.
life happens, and he
Yes.
was moving.
Yes.
But then now that we don't know what we said or something to where we came back to talking, and like I said, I reached out to him today about his brother, and but he's like, dude, that's crazy how the life is just kind of full circle. Like here, me and you are after me and him talked 4 or 5 years ago.
I reached out to him today for his brother too. So I mean, it's just like this weird
Right.
bringing us together
Right.
for this show tonight. This is unplanned stuff
No, we didn't do it
that's
on purpose.
unraveling right here,
Right.
and it's incredible.
Like I told you, I'm a big believer in signs.
Yeah,
Big believer in
maybe
signs.
divine providence in some way, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Whatever it is, but it's happening.
I probably fished with Joe, I want to say 3 times, and that was several years ago. I don't even know how many. I'm going to say 8, 10.
Maybe.
And we have maintained, because I saw him for the good father,
Right.
husband, person
Right.
he was. I could see it clearly. I
It's-
could
it's
see what a
obvious.
good guy
It
he was.
I never met him in person. believe it or
Yeah,
not, just
and I wanted to maintain that with him, and I have, and super good guy. Man, when he sent me this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll guarantee you that'll be in my, if I have a coffin,
Oh yeah,
that'll go in
probably
with
go
me.
right on the top.
That comes from, just love.
It is.
Joe Patino made that for me.
Right.
And I got that, and I just went, wow, I mean,
This is one of those things you're like these.
yeah.
I have a Marine Corps brother that makes these.
And he made that for you?
Yeah. Semper Fi, what does it say right there? I can't read it. My glasses suck.
Yeah.
Semper Fi Rustic Designs.
Beautiful.
Mr. James Viestra, he makes those for us.
Let's get back to that in a second. But Anthony Malfitano just threw us $10. Anthony, thank you.
Sweet.
Charles Zimmer, $20. Charles, he's a great. You got to meet him. You will meet him.
I will.
April the 13th, unless that's too far, and then April the 15th for sure at the lake.
Okay.
If you can make one of those, go to the lake event. We'll get you in, and then
Okay.
you can help us with the kids, and
Sounds
then
great.
meet some really super good guys. Joe Surwald, how often are you able to put these trips together for the vets? Is this an annual event or a couple of times a year?
When I first started this, we did once a year. I felt that my brothers and sisters deserved a lot more. So now we're trying to do one every other month. Every other month we're trying to, depending on obviously fundraising, if we're able to put it together and raise the funds to do it, I'll do it every month.
But in a perfect world, you do it even more if you were able to raise the money, right?
Probably if I, like I told you, if I had the one-offs where it's just 2 or 3 people, I do it every month.
Yeah.
Every month. I say, hey, I got a trip for 3 on this month, 4 on this month, and in conjunction with our bigger 20 to 25 20 to 25 passenger trips. But if I recommend, if you're going to register for a trip, I know this is going to come off kind of crazy, Friday, September 8th is our biggest trip of the year. We call it Operation Anacapa. We take over 150 out, 5 boats out of Channel Islands. We start there in the morning around 7, or you check in is between 6 and 6:30. We're on the boats by 7. We fish until 11 ceremony, as I explained earlier. We come back at 3:30 to a big barbecue dinner provided by the Ventura Downtown Lions Club right there on the landing. And that's the one that you need to be on. That's the trip of all trips.
So is that for the veterans or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And people can go on it also, or what? That sounds great.
So it's a big event. Like I said, we take about 150. The most we had 5 boats. We had 186.
And how do you sign up for that?
That'll once again subscribe on the webpage.
Okay.
And then as that trip, once I get ready to announce it, I'll send the email out and you'll see it'll fill up.
And it's missionfish.org?
Missionfishusa.org.
Missionfishusa.org. Perfect.
Right.
Joe Surwald sure would respect some of these tackle companies and rod and reel manufacturers if they pitched in for your cause. I'd support them more in my purchases if I knew they supported our service members. Yeah, I get that, 100%,
of
right?
course, of
Yeah, you
course.
want to support those kind of
Of course.
people. Brian, do you feel like I feel like when I did that year in Costa Rica, I did those 2 years in Mexico. Well, just take Costa Rica. I was a young kid, so I was flying back, and I'd been the first time I'd been away from my parents. So I was
Right.
homesick, and
Of course.
it was a year away from home and everything. I remember getting on that plane, looking down, and thinking how much more I got out of it than I actually gave to the people. Do you feel like you personally get a lot out of these trips also?
I do. I get when I first started the nonprofit, um, it was more geared towards. I know I don't want to sound selfish, but it was geared towards me trying to help me. Like, how can I help them help me?
Yeah.
And as the nonprofit grew, and as I grew, and as I was able to understand my PTSD and my anxiety and my depression, now I get more of it from watching the whole trip evolve, watching the execution from the beginning to the high fives and the tears. Once I see that, that's when I'm like,
Cathartic for you,
yeah,
probably,
I'm just
right?
like, that was it. That was it. And
What
then
was? Did you ever get to the origin of your depression? Was it trauma in the military, or
we had
with? And if you don't want to say,
yeah, we had one event in the Marine Corps, but then when I lost my brother,
yeah,
and then I lost my grandmother,
yeah,
and then it was just way too much, too fast.
Yeah.
It was like within a year, and I was like, I'm done.
Did you turn to alcohol or anything? Or?
No, I just turned to more self by myself. Don't want to be
Yeah,
around
you
nobody.
want to be alone.
Yeah,
sleeping a little too
yeah,
much,
and I
maybe.
was a single dad.
Yeah,
I took it out on my kids. I didn't beat them or anything like that, but I just knew I verbally abused them. Like, okay, and it wasn't the fact that it was them; it was me.
yeah.
It was the fact that I just couldn't deal with what I was dealing with at the
You're
time.
very honest about all that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're honest because
Right.
you know somebody out there is
I know.
going through this.
Oh, yeah, and that's why-
and they can
I got
come out
nothing-
and be like
Oh,
you.
Of course.
I'm the same thing, man.
Yeah,
As
I'm just
an
like-
alcoholic, same thing.
Right.
You
And
know?
I was just like, man. So, but now that I've came this far and I talk to my kids in a different tone now, I respect my kids a lot more than I did then because I didn't know that how to. I mean, I was 21, 20 years old, going in the Marine Corps, going overseas for 10, doing 10 years in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So my kids went from 0 to 10 years. I mean, they grew up with me, but they didn't grow up with me.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I was there, but I wasn't there mentally. I was there physically, but I wasn't there mentally. I was
Yeah.
just so focused on the mission of, okay, the next time I gotta do this, I gotta do this. I really didn't give my kids that opportunity.
Yeah.
So when the anxiety and depression kicked, when my grandmother passed, and my brother passed, and I just went into that deep hole, and I thought, this is not gonna end well for me. Until
God, same thing with me.
And my brother Jason Chesbro took me fishing that one time, and then speaking to Kevin on that boat, and that's when I knew I had a lot more to live for.
Kevin Brannon, you're talking about. Yeah.
I had a lot more to live for, and I got, if I can make it, they can make it. So,
Yeah. Kevin Brannon's one of those guys brimming with positivity,
man.
right?
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
He's a great
I don't know
guy.
how he does it.
Really great
Me
person.
and him, we talk. We don't talk as much anymore because I moved out to Victorville, but it's like like your best friend. Like, you don't have to talk to them every day to know, because I mean, obviously he's on Facebook and social media, so I can see him from a distance. But he knows, or I know, if there's something going wrong, I'll reach out immediately. Hey, you good? I usually check on maybe 10 to 15 people a day, just random text messages. Hey, you good? Just checking in.
Yeah, because they're.
Because even if I see them doing something positive or in a good mood, I still check on them.
Yeah.
It's just, that's part of my nature. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that they're okay.
Yep.
And that I'm here. I'm still here.
Yeah, me too. I do the same thing. I know a person who's going through some difficult situation now, and I'm checking with them all the time, making sure that
Yeah, just drop
you
a
got a
little-
few of those.
Just drop
people.
a little bit. Hey, man, just checking
Right,
in.
right. Love you, thinking
Right.
about
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
definitely. In fact, I'm sure you and I will probably be sending that note to
Oh.
our buddy Joe Patino tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I'll check on
Because
them
he's
again.
going through a very
Oh,
difficult
man,
time.
it's rough. It's a rough patch.
Yeah,
It's a rough patch. And like he told me, he had plans for him and his brother this summer and things, but now it's another chapter to write. I mean, another story to tell. So.
yep. Brian Barber, Changing the World with Mission Fish. If you have a question for him, please, while Brian is still here, ask that question. You know, treating depression sometimes can be treated with drugs. It can be
Correct.
treated
Alcohol.
with therapy.
Right.
It can be treated with many ways, but just a behavioral change that sometimes that can be the thing. I remember when I went to AA the first time, the guy says, "What's your problem?" And I said, "Well, I drink too much. That's my problem." And he looked me straight in the eye, and this still resonates with me. He said, "No, you got something inside of you. I don't know what it is,
Right.
but alcohol is the way you've chosen to treat
Treat it.
your problems. How's that working for you?"
Right.
And I looked at him and said, "Not too good."
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah,
Well, I went
but
to- I
it
went-
made sense finally.
I went through that with my dad. So
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My dad went through AA, and I remember going to see him in the hospital and thinking, this is crazy. You know, what is it really going on? What is really going on with this?
Right.
Um,
Because as a kid, you can't fathom what's happening.
yeah, no idea. I didn't know it was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I just thought it was the way that
People
adults were.
Yeah.
I
They
thought
have a
did-
drink every
I thought
night.
they
right?
did. Yeah, I thought that was part of the norm.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. But I mean, my dad, like I said, he lost his family with that because him and my mom divorced, and I became the man of the house, and I was like,
At what age did you become the man of
13.
the house? Whoa.
yeah, 13.
Talk about that a little bit.
Right,
With the immense amount of pressure and responsibility on a 13-year-old.
Right.
How did you do that?
I had a good teacher. My grandfather was the best. My grandfather took me in. He taught me how to be a man. My grandfather and my grandmother both. They taught me really well, like how to be respectful to my peers and my adults. And I gave my mom a lot of credit because, like I said, she was a single mom. I mean, doing
She
it
had to
with-
go to work, raise her
she had to work-
kids.
She would work 2 jobs, and it was me and my sister and my little brother. And then when my cousin, who I call my brother, when he was 9, his mom passed away. So when he was 9 years old, he came to live with us. And ever since then, he was my brother. He wasn't my cousin anymore. This is my brother. This, you know, when you share a bed with somebody and you share clothes with somebody and you share a room with somebody, they're your brothers. I mean, that cousin line went out the window then. That
Yeah.
day he came to the house, it was, okay, it's my brother. So having me, him, my sister, and my little brother, and my mom just doing her thing, like I had to help out as much as I could. And I think that's what kind of drove me to be the man I am today, because I know the struggle. I know what it's like now. And that's why I give my mom a lot of credit for giving me the tools to be who I am.
God, you and your family, man, talk about role models.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Trying.
You guys are, yeah, and you're so honest. I mean, you're talking about you failed in some cases.
Right.
And you're very honest about that, but some people fail and then they throw their hands up and that's the end of the story.
Right.
Some people fail and it's just part of the process and you end up being a better person at the
Right.
end of it all.
You have to. There's certain things in life you have to go through.
Yeah.
You have to experience it. You can't say, going to Australia is horrible if you've never been there.
Right. Mexico,
Right?
Jessica.
Yeah, right. You can't. Right.
Living in Jessica.
Come on,
living in
Jess.
Jessica.
Right, come on,
living in
Jess.
Mexico, Jessica.
Come on, Jess. We gotta go. Let's go. 5 years. That's a 5-year plan. But you can't discourage an experience if you haven't done it. You can't.
No.
How could you sit there and say like, oh, well, you're a sorry fisherman. Do you fish? No. What? I mean, so you have to experience things in life. Like, life has its ups and downs, but it's part of the process. It's part of the process. I mean, to me, it never ends. You should always want to learn something. Always want to give somebody something, whether it's positive feedback, whether it's constructive criticism, something. You got to give somebody something. You can't keep it all. I mean, what good is it you hoarding all the information? You'll share that wealth.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that you went through this depression and came out, when you see somebody who's going through it, I think you're more able to say, I've been there.
Yes, sir.
I know how to help you through this. If
Right.
you'll just listen to me.
Right.
And same thing with alcoholics. You know, I can smell an alky.
A mile away now.
Yeah, I know exactly what's going on. You're not going
Right.
to BS me because I was the biggest BSer that
Right.
ever lived.
Yep, I was that guy.
You know, yeah, when you're an alcoholic and your lips are moving, you're lying. That's the end of it, man. I'll tell you.
That's funny.
Typical story. I'll tell you. My wife, Ruth, put up with me. I don't know why she did, but she did. And so I would, this one time, I got O'Doul's.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my bottle of vodka in a trash can next to me with the trash on top of it.
Yeah.
And so she comes up to me one day and she goes, in Spanish, of course, but she goes, "You smell like alcohol." She's looking at me and I go, "Ruth, I'm drinking these dumb O'Douls for you. I'm stopping drinking." She's looking at me going, "You're smelling like alcohol." And I go, "These things, they smell like..."
Yeah, it's supposed
She
to.
looks down, moves the trash, puts the bottle up, and
Busted.
didn't yell at me, didn't anything. Just Costa Ricans are really good at this. Like, "You have ripped my heart out," and she's really good at that. And man, I felt terrible.
Right.
But
That
once
guilt,
again, I was trying to pull a fast one
That guilt.
while I'm poisoning myself and killing myself. And I think I'm so smart because I'm pulling it over and nobody's falling for it.
And that's the thing. I think time, as you get older, you like I said before, you learn to understand that. Like there's no need to BS anybody anymore. You can't. What's the point in it? There's no point. It's a waste of time and energy.
How old are you?
I'm 48.
Yeah, you're a young guy still. I've got you. You're looking at me like I'm not young. Hey, I'm 65, man. I'm old.
I'll be 49 in September.
Man, that's great. September what?
24th.
Ooh, you just missed my son Patrick, 23rd.
That's my daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. We're gonna have to celebrate together.
Yeah. Well, you can understand. I was hoping she was coming on my birthday, but she decided to have her own day.
She got on the Friedman lucky number, man.
All right, there it is.
I was March 23rd. My brother's February 23rd. Patrick, my son, is September 23rd. And my dad played college football at Ventura JC and played against, in the Rose Bowl, not the Rose Bowl game, but in the stadium, Jackie Robinson. And if you believe my dad, I don't know if this is true, he made an open field tackle on Jackie.
I'll take it.
But I got the program, and sure enough, Jackie Robinson and my dad, number 23. So that's our lucky number. So your daughter's got a good number there, man.
23. Hear that, Cope? Number 23.
I love it.
That's one of my heroes, Jackie Robinson.
Oh my God! Yeah, my dad just ingrained in me how that meant the world to him.
That meant the world. That guy means the world to me. I mean, I was able to go to Kentucky and going into the Louisville Slugger Museum and seeing that, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, right?
I got to hit a baseball with his bat.
Wow.
Not his actual bat, but they make replicas of his style hit, and I got to hold his bat, and that guy swung some lumber.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
That guy swung some lumber.
You remember a guy named Ernie Banks, played for the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah.
So my dad was a security guard at Harbor Hospital when Ernie Banks' son was born, and he helped. Ernie was there, and my dad helped him, and blah, 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 blah. So we go to a Dodger game. They're playing the Cubs, Ernie Banks. So I don't know when this was, the 60s or 70s, whatever it was. And so it was almost, I wanted to cry, but at the same time. So my dad goes, we're back there, and Ernie Banks is signing autographs and everything. And my dad goes, "Mr. Banks, do you remember me? Friedman, Albert Friedman." And he looks at him and just turns away and just keeps signing. And I go, "Oh, I feel so bad for my dad."
Yeah, yeah.
And he signs his hand and goes, "Where's Friedman?" And my dad goes, "Right here." And he goes, "I do remember." And then my dad just lit up. Yeah.
Like, yes, I won. Do you see that, boys?
I know.
Right.
Because, oh man, I felt like, oh, my poor dad. But then Ernie Banks was just so gracious. And we got the ball signed by Ernie Banks and everything else. I mean, it was so cool.
But you remember that, though, right?
I do. I'll never forget that.
That was awesome.
I'll never forget that, man. I'll never forget going to when Notre Dame would come out here to play SC, we'd go to the Notre Dame breakfast and sit with the players. Really? And my dad would get us into that. And it was like the day before, or maybe, I can't remember, maybe it was the day after, and you went to Mass, and then you sat with the Notre Dame guys, and it was just like, cool. Those guys are like, when you're a kid, when you're 7 years old.
Even as adults, these guys are massive.
Yeah, I know. So that's why you see the brainwashing and the Notre Dame flag and everything here. Isaac says, great show, a lot of real stuff that everyone goes through. A lot of people can't be this real. Yeah, you are totally real. And you're very honest about everything, and that makes a huge difference. And what you're doing, man, I got to tell you, I'm going to start crying. You're going to have to run over there and get a Kleenex there pretty soon.
I got a shoulder, man. We share it together. But it's just one of those things. It's just, it's time. You know what I mean? It's time. There's nothing to hide. I mean, there's nothing to show, oh, I'm not a normal person. I mean, I hurt like everybody else hurts. I struggle like everybody else struggles.
What I like about this, especially given today's environment where I feel like everybody is trying to separate us. Black, white, can't get along, men, women, gay, straight. Just like portion us out into these little voting blocks.
Right.
This is just bringing people together.
Trying.
Because you don't care about
I
what
give-
color
I
somebody
give
is,
two
or if
shits
they're
about it,
Catholic or
man.
Jewish or
I don't
atheist.
care.
Or
I don't care what you have for breakfast.
Yeah, right?
Just come out and fish.
Yeah,
Come on, fish. I'm out to share your story.
yeah.
Come on and share what helps you. I'm more interested in what helps you help the rest of us. Give me some insight on what you do. That way I can share with these guys. Like Harry, he does his engraving and stuff. I mean, you guys see some of his work, but
I can't wait.
he does it.
What is this thing again?
Army Dog Creations.
Army Dog Yeah.
But what he does it. That's his thing, and I share with everybody.
And that brings him peace and
Right, that's what
Yeah.
he does. That's what he does. But he also fishes. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that, like I said, whether he's talked to somebody on a trip that does it, or I hope he had talked to some other veterans that have not done it. Maybe they're getting into it, or maybe they reach out to him for certain things. But that's what it's about. It's like creating that brotherhood and sisterhood network again.
And you're really good at that, because I don't know how you feel after this. How long we've been talking? Geez, we've been talking an hour and a half almost,
That's it.
man. We're flying here.
That's it.
I feel like I have a really profound friendship with you, and I don't even know if that's possible to have after 2 hours of talking to somebody.
I find that very true. I talk to a lot of people, and you can tell the authenticity on them.
You can.
And you could, when they tell you some stuff that they probably wouldn't tell the normal or average person, you know, okay, this is a real person.
Yeah.
They're not blowing no smoke. They're telling me like the real. Because I don't know how many people would come out and say, hey, I was with anglers, and I was with alcoholics. Not that many people can confess up to that or can take that truth. Some people don't know how to, but I mean, obviously we've done our thing and we know what we're capable of doing.
Yes.
And we beat it.
Yeah. Yes. Today,
Right.
one day at a time, right?
One day at a time.
Yeah.
One day at a
Because, and if you fall down, and I've fallen down,
who
you just
doesn't?
get back up and dust yourself off, and because there's a vortex when you fall down. There's a vortex that starts sucking you down, where you say, "I failed. I've screwed this up."
Oh yeah, my wife is a big part of pulling that from me.
Yeah.
When I start to get that in that era or that zone, or I'm like, oh boy, here I go. She's like, come here, let's talk, let's do this, let's get out, let's go for a walk.
Lucky guy to have her.
It's just,
even though she doesn't want to live in Mexico.
right.
Other than that, she's great, right?
Right. She'll get there.
She sees that in you. Do you still find yourself getting depressed?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
So it's a constant battle.
Yeah. What's wrong, Mr. Barber? I'm like, God dang, how do you know? Right. And I tell her what's going on, or I try to keep it away from her. Nothing. And then she pulls it out of me. But that's that support team and that support.
That's what a loving wife and husband do.
Yeah. My brother's the same way. My sister's the same way. My mother. If they see me, they reach out. Friends, I have a lot of good friends that do the same thing. I don't feel alone anymore. Whether it's the nonprofit or whether it's just me as an individual, but I don't feel alone anymore. I know if there's somebody that I want to talk to or something that I need to, I know I can make that call without worrying like who's going to answer it. I know somebody will.
Yeah. I know. And surrounding yourself with positive people who have your best interest at heart is a really important thing. And that's what this program is, right?
Sir.
Because I know you're not getting any volunteers who are negative or don't have the ability to help others.
No.
You're surrounding these people who need your help with good people who are looking to help somebody.
Right. Just give them that day. Just give them that one day. That's my thing. Is if I give you one day of doing nothing but fishing, interacting, sharing, and healing, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Nels DG. Hello from Lancaster, California. You know that guy? Nels DG.
Nope, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome, right? You got tons of people watching. So once again, you cover all of these different things. Correction officers, I often thought to myself, like being a correction officer, you're kind of in jail too, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You're locked in there with these.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say
Not
everybody
just that,
are
but-
maniacs, but there's a lot of
But
maniacs
then
in
you
there.
also have to go check on them.
Yeah.
When they get out, and you start to. I mean, you're putting your life out there daily for these people that you're hoping will turn their life around.
Yeah.
You're hoping that they do. I mean, who's to say you may get there and that might be the day that they lose their stuff, and next thing you know, you're in trouble.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. To me,
You don't want to see recidivism where these guys go out and offend
Right,
again. You want to see them get their life
I want to
back
see them
on.
be successful.
Yeah.
But if I can't, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people that have been, if you look at these categories, every category has some sort of PTSD stress in there. You have
Absolutely,
to.
right?
On the day, some of these on the daily, they probably have it. Can you imagine being a nurse in the ER? I mean,
Oh my
good
God.
goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
depends
no
upon.
way.
Yeah, I mean, like Harbor Hospital in Torrance, they see
Right.
all kind of gunshots,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff, horrible stuff.
Right.
Kids
Right.
that are
See,
so,
and
you
that's
know,
right. Before I joined the Marine Corps, I asked my uncle. I asked my uncle Andy. I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about being a fireman or a paramedic." And he goes, "That'd be awesome." He goes, "But let me ask you a question." I go, "All right, what you got?" Right? And I'm thinking, I'm gonna nail this. He goes, "You pull up to a scene and you see a child or someone that looks like your family member. Are you able to react and help?" My answer was, "Hell no." And he said, "Then it's not the job for you."
yeah, yeah,
That quick. I
yeah,
was like, "What?" All right, back to the drawing board. I just knew what I wanted to do. I was excited, and I was like, "Yeah, there's no way in hell I can do that. There's no way."
yeah,
But they do it every day.
right.
Every day. So if I can't take them fishing one day and give them a thank you from me, come on.
Dispatch are the people like that are answering the 911
yeah,
stuff.
right.
So it's got to be going through their heads. Did that person make it? How did they come out of
Right.
this?
I mean, hearing the
I
story.
did my best.
Right.
You
You know,
know.
I've seen movies where they're, like
Yeah.
the 911 operator is dealing with stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I couldn't. Some people can't put their feet in my shoes. There's no way I can put my feet in some of these shoes. I would lose it.
Right.
I would lose it daily.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, no, I'm crying again. Gotta go. You know what I mean? Up,
Yeah.
crying again. Gotta go. Like, Barbara, it's not for you. You're right. It's not for me.
Yeah, dealing with kids and
Everything.
stuff like that would drive me
Everything.
crazy. I don't know if I can
Nuts.
handle that.
I couldn't do any of that.
Yeah, the
Couldn't
kids
do any
thing,
of
man. I don't know. You know,
But
that's-
just kids, parents, sisters. I mean, I got nieces and nephews, grandchildren. So there's no way. I just couldn't.
I don't think I could do it.
I couldn't. But
And-
they do it every day.
And they do it every day.
And they do it, clock out, go home, and they do it again the next day.
Yeah.
I salute you guys.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Nels DJ, I watch your daily briefing every day.
There you go. That's you.
I just started watching your show this past month. Thank
There
you
it
so
is.
much. I'm so proud to have you on this show. Really, really appreciate that. Tomorrow night we start a new show at the Tackle Shop, and that will be filmed over at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, 6 p.m. with Sam De La Torre. I know you're going to love it. It's a live show, so you can ask all kinds of questions.
Nice.
Greg Buchert says, Brian is the fisherman. Yes, he is, Scott. Yes, you're the fisherman. You're more than that, though.
I'll tell you guys what.
What are you?
I-
You got
I-
all these different roles.
I suck at fishing. I do.
That's not your job.
No, people think that since I run this nonprofit, like I'm this expert fishing, like I know all the. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do not even know how to tie a knot. I know how to tie my sinker. That's as far as I go.
Hey, well,
That's it. I get on the boat. I get my rod and reel, a deckhand. Here you go. Set me up what we're using for the day. I get next to my participant, my brother or sister, drop it to the bottom, crank it up 3 times, and I wait. That's how I fish.
yeah, I mean, I've gone from a hardcore, like my brother and I, when we fished hard.
I can imagine.
I mean, whatever the average, like if there was 30 guys on the boat and they had 30 albacore, one fish per rod. If we didn't have 3 per rod, we sucked.
Right.
Okay, and we held ourselves in. We fished hard, and we knew.
Right.
But I've gone from, and I can still bounce a yellow
yeah.
tail up in the bow. I can still, but I'm getting old. But I do so much videotaping and so much of that in the business now and content. I know there's 90% of these guys are better than me now.
man.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
because they're really focused and working hard at it. I'm
right,
more
right.
into providing them with the information
Right.
to make them better. And
Right.
so there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Right, yes, sir.
And your goal is not to catch fish in the job that you have. Your goal is to help these guys and women who come out with you.
Give them that therapy. That's
What's the
all.
percentage of men to women on your
Believe it
trips?
or not, I would say about 75% men to 25% women.
I'm shocked that it's that high on the
I
women.
hate that number. I
Yeah,
hate it.
you want to see it more
Oh,
equal?
man, equal. I
Yeah.
have to. And believe
But
it or not,
there's way more men
Of
in the
course,
military.
of
yeah.
course. But my
It's
thing
so
is
it's
when
probably
my-
pretty representative.
right. But my thing now that I'm adding,
Oh,
now
yes.
that I've added this, and a lot of them know because we had during the shows. Like when we get a female, oh, I'm a female veteran, I'm a female first responder. Okay, where's my wife Jessica? Jessica runs usually in July she does an all-female trip. And that one she takes about 20 females, whether they be on this list or family support members. But to me it's just getting them out there. Because I like I told you before, my mom's a single mom. My wife at one time was a single mother herself. and I respect my women so much more.
Yeah.
So much wholeheartedly. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's just without them, there'd be.
I got to meet Jessica one of these days. She can actually talk to my wife, right? She
Right.
speaks Spanish.
Oh yeah, fluently. Fluently. She was at the show. She was having a good time. She usually runs the booth.
Oh, I
for me.
think I saw her
Yeah,
there, but
like you said, we were. It was
just
more.
running, right?
You know what I mean? Trying to get what we can get out of the show while we had the time.
My guy, I told you, Bob Gifford, who I went to grammar school with, so I've
Yeah,
known him
that's
for
what he told
50,
me.
and he was over there with you, and he came over and just raved about you. So then I was even more convinced. Hey, this is going to be good. I
Right.
can't wait to meet.
Right. Yeah. Like
Ryan
I said,
and-
we had this scheduled for a while.
Yeah, I know. We kept trying to do
I
it.
don't understand how it snowed. We're up.
I know. That's funny.
Wow. Oh wow, it's snowing.
All right, Tim P. Oh, this is not on the topic, but in your opinion, what was the better of the three recent shows, PCS, Long Beach, or Del Mar? I'll give my opinion, and then you can give yours.
Roger that.
They were all great. They were a little bit different.
Different levels.
Bart Hall's making a comeback. It wasn't the big show that it was from before, but it was well attended. The enthusiasm was there. It was a great show.
Yeah.
It's just that the bar was way up here from the previous show.
Right.
And even with the bar here, it's a great show.
Right.
PCS show was fantastic. They did a great job there.
Yeah, but that was our first time making it that big.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big last year.
Yeah, exactly. And then Del Mar, I thought was great. I think all of those shows were great, and I'm happy to see Bart back.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him doing so great.
I like I said, us being able to attend all three shows was great for us. I mean, we got to meet a bunch of different fishermen, a bunch of different fishing people. We got to meet a bunch of different crowds. But once again, I think they were all three shows were very successful.
Yeah,
I
right?
can't say there was anything bad about them.
No.
I mean, there was nothing like I was like, oh, I wouldn't do that next year. But everything I've done in all three shows, I would definitely do it again.
I thought that the Bart Hall show, just because it's more recent in my memory, it was frigging crowded, and those aisles were huge.
It had those waves. So it would get packed, and then it would kind of thin out.
Yeah,
Then it would get
toward
packed,
the
and
evening it would die
it would
out,
get-
but it normally does, you
Right,
know?
but the PCS was the same way. It was busy, and then it would fizzle, then it would busy, then it would fizzle. I had a good time at all three shows. I mean, I know that hopefully those shows will be around for a long time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
One, it's good for the industry, and two, they're great shows. And another thing is you network there so much.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to see people that, like in Del Mar, I got to see a bunch of my supporters and a bunch of veterans that have fished with us down here up there. Like, oh, you're down here? I'm like, yeah, I didn't know we were going to be down here, but you're here, so. And then in Costa Mesa, meeting some of them there, and then meeting some in Long Beach. So it was really cool to see that.
Absolutely. And the community is so cool. I mean, somebody, I forget who it was, Anthony or somebody, when we first started this whole thing, they started calling this the Friedman Adventure family. And I kind of like, yeah, right, think Friedman,
Right.
give me a break, right? It's become that.
Right.
And it's become this thing where everybody looks after each other, and there's no questions that people think, we just don't allow. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
Right.
And I don't want anybody to feel that way.
Right.
I don't want because in whatever you can pick a subject out there, and all of us are ignorant on it.
Yeah. Or
some
some of us are experts, right?
Yeah, right. And so it really has become a family. And speaking of that, Daniel Leanos is here. He says, Phil, I work as a therapist, drug and alcohol counselor. Wants to get in touch with Mission Fish. He wants to help.
There it is.
What a great guy. So how does he do that? Does he call you or go on the
he can
website?
Go on our
or?
website, missionfishusa.org, or he can reach me at missionfishusa@gmail.com, or you can call me at 805-670-9220.
Give that phone number slowly this time.
805-670-9220.
Scott Buchert says, you're the best fisherman, and you're way better on this show than Philip is.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah, Scott loves to dig me.
There it is. It is.
Your mission is to help people. Scott's mission is to just rip me to shreds every day.
Right.
It's all fun. He's a funny guy. He must be losing his NBA bets with me tonight.
Oh, there it is.
Getting your butt kicked, huh, Scott? I don't have a chance to look at the games yet.
Yeah, just break
We'll see.
yourself, right?
How'd you like that San Diego last night that you bet on?
Man.
Yeah, I'm like your grandfather with this guy.
Right, that's
Charles Zimmer, I'm making the executive order. He's doing an order here.
There it is.
Whoa, I like this. Any vet that shows up to Santa Ana River Lakes on April 15th, which you're coming to where we're helping kids. In fact, I have a flyer up there for you to take home. Chuck is going to provide them with dinner.
Wow.
Free lunch. And these guys don't mess around, man. They try to ruin my diet. Anytime I get near the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club, they're just shoveling food on you, and it's good.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, I mean, you can offer that to any of your vets.
Let's
If
do
they
it.
go to the lake, they got to buy their entrance in.
Right.
But
How much is the entrance?
lunch is, I
We'll
think it's like
figure it out.
$20
We'll
or
figure
something
it
like
out.
that.
We'll
Yeah,
figure it
I'm not sure, but I think that's what it is. Charles Zimmer, proud
Appreciate
to call
it.
you a friend. Really,
That
I'm
is
serious
awesome.
about
That's
that.
awesome.
Even though you haven't done any drone footage lately. Hey, Chuck, can you hit Scott over the head for me, please? He's making me feel really bad. I'm getting depressed now, Brian. You're going to have to help me.
Let's go fishing. Let's go. I know they got some boats leaving tonight, right?
Yeah,
they
no,
got
it's
some
too
folks-
windy, man.
Is
Everybody's
it?
in another day. And then weather, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. Weather tomorrow and through the weekend is gorgeous. There's not going to be much wind at all. Things are going to settle down. Hopefully those yellows will start biting again at the Coronado Islands and calling it. Hopefully we'll find that bluefin tuna. Rock fishing should be fantastic. The Pride had halibut and white sea bass recently. That should get going, but I'll cover all that with you in a few more hours on the morning briefing when I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do it. Steve Bermudez, God bless the families who dealt with their soldiers when they come home. I had 3 uncles that served in World War II, and every time they heard that I went fishing, the love of alcohol kept them away. So, yeah, I mean, that can be a problem, right? I'm a guy who used that as a crutch, and,
Right.
it's not a good crutch, man.
But like I said, I appreciate you for owning it.
Yeah.
I mean, because some people don't.
Hey, I mean, you screw up enough times, you just finally
to.
give up and own it, right?
to. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not fooling anybody.
Right?
Yeah,
Some people don't understand that part.
yeah, yeah.
They don't get it.
Acme, can I bring my pops down? He's a Korean War vet. I'm sure, right? Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. I don't know if you're talking about the
Yeah.
Santa Ana River event
Or with
or a
Mission
future event with Brian, but yes to both of those for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
And let's see, AKA the Sack Chuck, I'm in. So he's a vet. He's going to cash in on that free lunch from the Redondo
Let's
Beach
do it.
Rod
That's-
and Gun
that's
Club
awesome.
guys. Well, Brian, is there anything that we haven't covered tonight? It has been, I mean, we could go on and on, but
Right,
I've
we could be
learned
here for hours, man.
I've learned a
It's like
lot
talking-
about you,
it's like
and
talking to a good uncle. I mean, someone that just knows.
I really feel the same way about you. I've learned a lot. I feel like I have a little window into your soul,
Right.
and you're a truly good person. Not only a good person, but someone who's overcome obstacles in their life, who's very honest. And if I were going to put somebody who's having some troubles in the care of somebody, you'd be my first pick because I can see the love, I can feel it, and you're an incredible human
appreciate
being.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Thank
Anything else that you'd like to say before we say goodbye? Any more questions, anybody? Before we go, almost 2 hours, man. Good job tonight.
I'm good. I'm good on my end.
You are?
Yeah. Like I said, I thank my team. I thank you for giving me the opportunity
Oh
here.
man, I'm the one who's honored.
Right. We couldn't be here without you guys, without the support from you guys.
Why don't you? Well, hold on. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you sign up by giving all of your contact information.
right.
Since we have kind of a limited budget here, I'm the director also, so I'm going to run behind the
Do your
camera,
thing. All
and
right.
I'll let you finish up.
We have our social media platforms, Mission Fish USA. MissionFishUSA.org is our website. Our email is missionfishusa@gmail.com. And our phone number, 805-670-9220. Remember, go to the website, missionfishusa.org. Scroll down about halfway. There's a subscribe button. Click that subscribe button. Send me all your information. I do send out, we're going to start sending out some newsletters. Going to start sending out some coupons to buy our merchandise. And that's where you will get all your information as far as for the upcoming trips, all the tournaments and fundraisers, and all the events that we have planned for the rest of the year.
Brian, fantastic. Isaac says, great show, guys. Nels, DG, Phil, you're the man. Great show. Thank you. Brian, once again, thank you for all you do. You
appreciate
are
you.
an awesome human being, and I'm proud to call you my friend now.
Hoorah.
All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow night and tomorrow morning. More Friedman Adventures. Brian, thanks again.